Some music before we go on, then awesome. Spotify web player.
By the way, in 2022,
yeah,
at the end of 2022, because we're in 2022, when the Republicans take over,
yeah.
I want them to go full fucking
When the Republicans take over,
to the
I
board
want
and
them to go
just
full
torture Democrats.
the Republicans
I
take
want to not be
to
the
the
nice party
board and
anymore.
just
I really do.
I was getting crazy feedback from two sides. I was like, "Oh, dude, why is this so impactful when the Republicans when they take over, when they take over, when they take over, when they take over?
Fuck.
We're going full Monty. They're gonna go full Monty.
Because with Schumer now going to try to kill the filibuster like this, I want us, when we have control of everything,
To decimate,
absolutely enough of the good
decimate the
guy shit.
slavery party.
Yeah, enough of this fucking good guy shit. Let's go kill it all. Kill it all.
So, how is Schumer gonna stop the filibuster? How does he have the power to do it?
Oh, he's got to get 60. He's got to get 60 votes, right?
Right, right. How are you gonna get 60 votes when you're 48,
I
50?
would think you can't, but you know who I don't trust? That BDI motherfucker from Utah. I don't fucking trust him.
What's that guy? Who's he? Joe? Let me put like BDI fucking congressman, senator, right?
Senator, yeah.
Senator, Utah, go. Mike Lee,
No.
then Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney. I don't fucking trust him at all.
Oh, I didn't realize Romney was still the fucking senator.
Yeah, he's so anti-Trump. So anything that Trump ever wanted to fucking do,
Oh,
which
yeah.
by the way, we're live already.
Yeah, his and Romney's family, they like live on compounds in South America and they rape little girls. So
Yeah, no,
yeah, that's like one generation out, like his dad.
yeah. So so it makes me nervous that they're going to go for the filibuster because, well, actually, you're right. They're not going to get 60 votes. It's not going to be possible.
No.
So, but what I want everybody to take note on who the fuck votes for that.
Oh yeah,
Especially when it comes to the Republican Party. They need to be ostracized immediately. Dude, they just called Kirsten Sinema a fucking white supremacist the other day.
Oh, she responded to my email from last week, so we shall read it today, shall we?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
She tell you
I
not to
reached.
swear? She tell you not to swear because you're a
No.
white boy?
No, well, she's like, you want me to pull your hair? And I said, you call me Dadbod Bikerbeard, you can do whatever you want. She's like, oh, you bad Dadbod. Run that train into me. What? John's not coming.
Chew.
I love her now. I'm swinging left a little bit. We should do that.
Hanging. Well, Kirsten Sinema makes me hang left.
We should do that whenever we say like if we're gonna go going left or going right on an issue. Just be like whatever. Say going left, and we both go like that to left. Going right. I try to be like center right, but now I'm getting pushed righter. I'm righter now. I'm righter than I ever was.
I wish you would. I would let her peg me all day long. That one.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Why did this is my daughter's joke? Remember? Why does Beyonce sing to the left, to the left?
Yeah, and you said because women have no rights.
Because women have no rights.
Yeah, I used to hear that.
That's not me. That's her. This is my declared ambisexual daughter, teenage daughter. Who can't we all just get along? Yeah, I thought it was a good joke. Anytime. Oh, and she said something else about women being property was the punchline. I don't remember it though. It was really good. It was one of those proud dad moments when your daughter comes out as a hardcore misogynist and yet is going to go hang out with her girlfriend. I said, "Why do you do that, sweetie?" And she's like, "I thought it was funny, and I thought you'd find it even more funny because it came from me." And I said, "That's right. You do understand what humor is.
Context is king, man. Context is king.
You say you don't have a sense of humor, but you do. Yeah, I figured it out, and you made me laugh."
Doesn't find John funny at all. That's
Right, John's not funny. No, but no one does. That's not his.
Talks about himself crying. He's
That's
like,
not his fault.
Fucking
Yeah.
hysterical.
Yeah, his pain is funny. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, You guys might think like, why is the Dadbod Bikerbeard guy? Well, first off, why is he wearing a see-through hoopy thing there, and then over there he's got a diamond? Because I was taking a shower and then I was drying off. Bling! That one that looks like that went away. It's a small house and a small bathroom. I can't find it. I don't know where it went. So you don't want the hole to close up. Otherwise, John gets mad because it gets too tight, too snug. Then he comes really fast. Boom, boom. And if you're gonna appropriate somebody's culture, then you better get that.
You better get it right.
You better get that coconut and vitamin E shit on your face right quick before you do this. Yeah, boy, what up? I'm a little under the weather, so I'm acting more strange than usual. I think I have the COVID. I'm not joking. Close contact. Very close contact, like this.
So you got it from Gene Simmons?
I did, yeah. Does my tongue seem long?
It does. It does.
I'm okay. Yeah, anyways.
Why are you putting spooge in your beard? I'm just curious about that.
I think with the low-grade fever and the all the other COVID stuff, I feel like I just need
I feel dry.
I feel dry.
Ashy.
I feel very ashy. I don't like being ashy. So anyways.
You're gonna make me go get my beanie, by the way. If you're gonna wear that,
do it.
I'm gonna wear my beanie.
Do it. We might as well do some cultural misappropriation while we rub spooge on our face, and then talk about politics, COVID. So what are the chances? This is what I'm trying to figure out. So I had the vid, would have been my 22nd wedding anniversary had I not, had we not split at our 17th, which was a Veterans Day. Veterans Day, I got the vid, and it was, it was uncomfortable. I lost my sense of taste, smell. Felt like I couldn't breathe a lot. Appetite was gone. That one sucked a lot. I didn't like it. It sucked. And then, so that was whatever variant it was. I don't know whatever it was. I'm
probably Delta.
Alpha, but probably Delta, right?
Yeah, I think Delta.
I think I feel like I had the A one, June of the year before, because.
So you're a third-time offender? Is that?
Yeah, I feel like it's like less severe as it goes on. You know. I was like really sick, like out. I slept for like 48 hours and my kids were here. I remember I was sleeping in the living room on the floor or on a blow-up mattress. I was just like, I couldn't move. And I thought that was a really bad flu for summertime. You know, that's really weird. I got exposed and tested like 18 times due to proximity and never tested positive. Even that I didn't test positive. I didn't test immediately when I had what I thought was the flu, which was probably that. But when I'm saying like direct exposure, I had like a class of people all get it, all of them. I didn't. How can I be the only one in the room? Makes no sense. And then in a place where we were completely masked up, spent a day in a room that was, 5 feet by 4 feet with another coworker, mask off, of course. We're eating, we're doing everything for like 12 hours straight in this closed. Like you'd have to open the door. When you're in modular offices, it gets hot in there. We had to open the door like, Jesus Christ, need to get some air. It smells like mouth breathing in here. Everybody else is masked, wearing masks. We were like, he got it. This was Friday. I'm driving to work on Monday. I get a call from my boss. Hey, how you feeling? I'll be all right. Why? What's going on? Yeah, maybe I need you to go get tested. Oh no, did I get chlamydia again? Damn your wife. And he was like, no.
tell her to clean it off before she pegs me. What is wrong with her?
You quit spreading that BBC around. I don't want it.
By the way, Thug Biker and Thug Devil in the house. That's what Mama Fuck said.
Nice.
I
What
like
up?
that. Very nice.
Oh, you got the chat up. That's good. Who's in? What's up, guys?
We got 3 people watching. The only one that said anything so far is Mama Fox. We had
Mama
4
Fox.
people,
Welcome, baby.
but I said, "Hey, chat room, word," and the other person disappeared. So apparently,
Oh.
word sends them a running.
Maybe we can get TLOML on. I mean, to pop in the chat. Oh, the love of my life. What up?
Blech.
What up, John? I meant you, buddy.
I'm hoping Timmy.
Timmy. What time is it in Canada?
It is 2 hours difference.
All of Canada?
No, just where he is.
Where is he? Manitoba?
No.
Ontario?
Yes.
Oh, he's the East Coast.
East Coast.
Okay. Carol Adams sent me a text. What up? I started a new Facebook fan page for Atomic Dork Squad News.
I know I joined it.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yeah, I did.
Appreciate that.
See? Huh? I'm getting up on the whole interweb shit.
Right on. That's good. So, yeah, we had a good show on Sunday. We probably had one of the best shows we've had in a long time. It was solid altogether.
Was that Atomic Dork Squad?
Atomic Dork Squad, yeah. So that was the first time I did a joint venture with anybody, and it kind of built some momentum over time. And John and I had surpassed, at least based on video on demand views and whatnot, we had kind of surpassed what we were doing on that show. But we kind of came back and we kind of tightened it up a little bit, and there was more trivia, which is always fun. But we expanded a little bit, not just 80s in Star Wars. So.
Or Glee.
Yeah, or Glee, right? So yeah, it was pretty solid. So I was like, why don't we have a page that we could share, the Pepsi Generation X. We can share trivia and memes and whatnot based on Marvel, Star Wars, and 80s pop culture. They're like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. I said, well, yeah, shit, I'll do it. I only have 9 other things going on. I'm gonna get one of those. I think Zoho. There's different companies that you can manage your social. What's it called? Social networks, social media. Your social media posts. Thank you. Because I used to do it for companies. I used to pimp myself out doing their digital marketing. And I just still have access to them, which is weird. My contracts expired back in like 2019, 2020. I still have access. Chats will pop up, and I'm like. Or I'll pop into the wrong things, like responding as, whatever, quality of life medical center. And I'm like, no, we're closed, bitches. And I respond. Someone's like looking for a ride, and I'm like, what is it? Arizona Express, Wildcat Express. I'm trying to remember. He went nationwide, or he went statewide. He was local. But I'm like, now responding as Wildcat Express Transportation. And I was like, no, you're wrong. Greg is an asshole. Thanks. We fired him. It's his company. He offered to give me ownership of his company when I came on board with him, but I was going through my divorce stuff at the time, and I was like, I just would like to have something to do. He used to work for me at the place I work now, and then he started his own company, and he said, would you help me with it? You've got a good mind, it seems, for everything, so I don't see how you can screw this up. I was like, that's the nicest vote of confidence I've ever had. But I think he was trying to save me too. He knew what I was going through. But he said he was going to give me a quarter of the company to help him start it. And then he went statewide, and now it expanded through all of Arizona. And now I'm thinking I should have taken it. Oh no. He's a handshake sort of guy. He's like John, kind of like salt of the earth. Like if you had a handshake on it, that would be enough,
You never shook his hand?
Oh yeah, I mean, I shook his hand. That would help him, but I said I'm I'm not concerned about compensation.
No.
You pay for the advertising. You gotta. I'm not coming out of pocket for anything that I'm working on, but I'll work on it. You just supply the money for that. So anyways, if you guys want me to help you start a business, look, it'll only cost you 25% of the business, and only at the time at which it starts making money. Otherwise, you pay for your own shit. I'll do your digital marketing, your SEO. Believe it or not, I'm competent. All right, now to you, John.
Great. So where do we go from there? What are you drinking? Is that like lemonade?
Like Crystal Light.
Okay. I'm drinking the coffee this evening to make sure that I am more alert than I have been in other shows. The coffee seems to be working.
You did coffee last week too.
Yeah. That was I was pretty alert. So
we had two pretty solid shows.
Yeah. I wasn't falling asleep and being like, fuck. It could have been the Glee trivia, but it may have just been the amount of alcohol and drugs in the system.
Well, I don't see that there's anything wrong with that. Did you know that you can buy marijuana products here in Arizona? You could buy them on your phone and then just walk in and then give them your ID and cash, and then they'll give you the drugs. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that. I have not been to the new one though. That's been going on in California forever.
What do you mean the new one? What's the new one?
Well, I've never been to dispensaries here in Arizona.
So there's one 2 minutes away from my home. I had never even looked at it. I noticed when it opened because me and the kids were driving by, and they're like, "What's that line for?" I looked at the sign. I'm like, "The movies."
Now showing
Day
Reader
one.
Madness.
They were wrapped around the building twice.
Yeah.
And when I found out where the door was, I was like, "Oh, that was actually a longer line than I expected." The door, like you'd see the building, and it's like all the way around twice. The entrance is on here in the center of the building. Like you have to go in. I was like, I thought they were going. Oh, that's a lot of people. But
I don't think it's that bad anymore.
No. Now you can stop and shop, and it's cool to see like the elementary school teachers going in, getting their shit. They're like, medical or recreational? They're like, I'm like, no shame in your game. It's legal. Go get some.
That's right.
Go get some. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely. Big fan.
They don't let you sample things though.
No.
That seems like some bullshit right there.
Well, you figure they walk around with a little tray of crumpled up like brownies or something. Like, hey, taste one of these.
Are these gluten free? Oh, fuck this place. I'm going to send a strongly worded email to
you. So what did, I don't know if you're prepared now, but I was curious what Kirsten Cinema said about the email that you sent.
COVID pneumonia. All right. Don't give up your vices, kids. Quitters never prosper. Oh, I make it look sexy, don't I? Oh, moron.
Oh, Lord.
Longer? All right, whatever. Let me find it. Let's see. I sent it off to Jeffrey Sinatra. Did I, or did I send it off to GB Sinatra? Let me check my mailbox.
And for all of those that were not witnessing this, we have brought up Kirsten Cinema a couple times. Basically, her and Joe Manchin have basically saved the democracy. No kidding. This is actually not blowing this out of proportion at all. They have saved the democracy for the United States of America in this last year.
They're the two Democrat holdouts who won't do stupid things just for the sake of doing stupid things.
Correct. Even though I think both of them voted to impeach Trump.
Well, that was a cool thing to do.
Right. Which I'm like, huh?
But they knew nothing was going to happen.
Wow.
It's literally like, we are bringing you up on charges. Yes, charges. All right, we're done.
But anyway, she has been one of the two holdouts that, and for all those not paying attention, the Senate right now is split 50-50. Dems to Republican, but the vice president is the tiebreaker. And of course, she would vote for anything on the liberal or
Agenda.
the Democratic side anyway. So the newest thing that we had heard is that number one, Kirsten Sinema is not for disbanding the filibuster, which is super important.
What is the filibuster?
Well, the filibuster basically prevents the party that has the power from steamrolling and getting everything they want.
Yeah,
Basically, that's the. Now, I don't know the exact
I
terms.
Yeah.
Oh, you pulled it up. Okay.
yeah, I
so
can
go ahead.
define it. I can define it. A filibuster is a political procedure in which one or more members of a legislative body prolong debate on proposed legislation so as to delay or entirely prevent decision. So, delaying tactics, stonewalling, procrastination, obstruction. So basically, when they bring, it's parliamentary rules. When they bring, I'm literally stretching back to high school, trying to remember this. When they bring a bill before the House, everyone has a right to speak, basically. They're not they're not limited that they have to speak about the subject at hand, but it's because it's about passing a law. They have an unlimited amount of time that they can spend talking about. Again, they never established it had to be that subject matter. They don't limit them because they feel like if you're going to pass a law, then you should have as much time as it takes in order to get your concerns out. That being said, there are parliamentary rules also state that you have to hit certain markers after you propose it. When it can go, it goes from the House, it goes to the Senate. From the Senate, it goes to the President. The President can veto it or accept it or pocket veto it. Pocket veto would be if the congressional session was coming up to the end of its session and it happened at a time where the president was not going to be in office, like be at the residence, he could technically, the president, and I say he, but we'll say he, she, or they, or whatever their pronoun is. I'm joking. It's just the president can basically just leave town so that the session ends while it's on his desk. And if the session ends while it's on his desk, it's a pocket veto, which means it can't go through without him being in residence. So if you see that because there's rules about timelines and how it happens, you can filibuster, which is how they basically declared that since you have an unlimited amount of time to speak, they want to get up and they can talk for as long as they can before they drop dead, and then the next person can get up and do it too. So you could run out the clock basically on the session because Congress they open and they close and then they go home and they do their shit in their states. That's what they're supposed to do. So that session, you're limited to that session. So I think there's people who've done like 48 hours of like talking on. They just stand there and they just keep going. We have people really like read like Sam I Am, like
the phone book.
War and Peace, the phone book.
Somebody read the phone book.
The best thing is it's all recorded in the congressional record, every word, and it is stored in the Library of Congress for anyone to see. So you can go through the books and you're like, and they didn't like this law. And there's a book that big of against. And here's why I'm against phone book. These people don't want it. So it's a tool. It's there. But it's there to not allow steamrolling either way, basically. It's to protect both ways. If you want to put out the effort and the energy, you can slow it down.
Right. And that really is, I'm sorry, but that's the rule of government. That's the role of government.
Yep.
Before you go and make an unbelievable change, the premise really is to make sure you get to hear and everybody gets to hear both sides. Obviously, there are tactics that are used. But anyway, so Kirsten Sinema's against that. She's also against some of these new voting rules that they're trying to put in federally. So Mr. Sinatra sent an email to her, I guess her email address the other night,
Yep.
basically telling her that keep towing the line. You're doing a great job.
Don't
You
give
know,
a him.
this shit, especially that NASA bill that we were talking about, where basically, you know, it has nothing to do with NASA, but they kind of put it in. It just passed the House. It's going to go to the Senate, and basically is going to allow people that are not citizens of the country to vote. Also, matching 6-1 on if you. So AOC is a great example. She raised $21 million in her last election, 19 million of which were under $200 at a pop.
Mhm.
And the new law would be that your taxpayer dollars would have to match it 6-1. So
6-1. That's crazy.
6-1. So okay, so
That means any incumbent who is able to raise that amount of money in small loan donations would never have an issue staying in office. You can sway enough people over your state. It doesn't take a lot of them to get you in, but you have basically millions and millions of people, and you have millions and millions of dollars you can get in everybody's head. Everybody's head. So, can you see the letter?
I can see. Oh, you know what? Because I have the chat up. Let me move the chat a little.
As long as it's on screen.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool. How does it show up? Actually, let me.
Dear Mr. Adams.
Let me
wait,
look.
She's a chick.
Oh, so we're up in the corner. Okay, I get it. And we're on speaker view apparently, because it doesn't show us side by side. Oh, that's my chats. All right. That's Senate filibuster. That's my concerns. Dear Mr. Adams, thank you for contacting me about the elections and government ethics in the United States. I always appreciate hearing from Arizonans about issues facing our state and country. It is important that we have conversations about topics that matter to you and your family. I hope you will continue to reach out to me and share your perspectives and suggestions. I dare say that this is a form letter.
You think?
States, localities, and federal government all play a role in administering elections in our country. The federal government's role in national elections has increased in recent decades. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 prohibits states from imposing policies that deny American citizens the right to vote. The U.S. Department of Justice enforces the VRA by prosecuting non-compliant states. The Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971 created the Federal Election Commission, FEC, and requires candidates for federal office to disclose campaign donations and spending. In addition, a number of laws have been enacted in the last 25 years that fund upgrades to election-related technology, allow voter registration at motor vehicle departments or by mail, and require the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to assist states in securing voting systems from physical and cyber threats. So she's painting some background. So the background is what? We know that voter rights are important, and we have spent the last 60 years, and even most recently the last 20, making sure that they are protected from a lot of different angles, right? They're like, we know this is already something we're doing, which is interesting because she's setting up to point out that the rhetoric that you're hearing is not the truth, right? So let's see. And she's a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. I hate her except for I love her. And it's not because she's just an attractive woman. It's because she is a human being also. And I love human beings. And attractive women. John, what are you doing? All right. The Office of Government Ethics, an independent federal agency, oversees laws prohibiting most elected officials and political appointees from engaging in government activities from which they stand to profit. All right, listen to that. The Office of Government Ethics. That seems like an oxymoron. That's like jumbo shrimp. Boom, boom. An independent federal agency, so it's independent. That means it's not appointed by the federal government. Oversees laws prohibiting most elected officials and political appointees from engaging in government activities from which they stand to profit. Weren't we just talking about becoming a congressperson and then making $100 million?
Because you know about insider trades. What?
Right, exactly. Ethics rules for members of Congress and lobbyists were established by the Congressional Accountability Act of 1995. Interesting, that was under Clinton. And the Lobbying Disclosure Act of 1995. So, Clinton, did he have a conservative government? A conservative House? Clinton, I'm thinking that's when, what's his name? The guy with the big guy with the big round head. He was in charge of the House and Senate. Conservative. Newt Gingrich. Newt.
I like him.
Me too. He's actually a really good historian. He's actually quite intelligent. But Brother Newt was Speaker of the House during the time Clinton was there. So you had a conservative. What are you doing? Little fucking rat. You had a conservative House and Congress, and even then, how effective were we? I don't know, but they at least did the Congressional Accountability Act of 95, because that seems like something only conservatives would do. And the Lobbying Disclosure Act of 95. So, in recent years, some have raised concerns about the integrity of the U.S. elections and the ethics of politicians. Do you hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like you're jerking off.
I mean, you deprive a rodent of fucking water for 3 days, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, thank you, I need more." Where's your sibling? Is it dead? I have two of them now. Timmy. I haven't named the other one yet. I don't know if it's gonna survive. When I pulled it off the glue trap. I'm staring at him. I'm trying to get his attention.
Is he drinking water?
Yeah.
Oh.
Really? Are you done yet? Hey, dipshit. What are you doing? Fucking rat. I have a Habitrol little cage. I have one here, and then I have one connected through a tube on my speaker over here. I just put it together tonight. I had the two cages, so I was like, "Oh, I'll go buy some tubes. Potentially give people COVID." I figured the rats would only be able to go through the Habitrol tubes for so long until they got too big. So I wanted to encourage them to do it now, because there's a truth about rats. And I'll get back to cinema, I promise. But this rat is pissing me off. I'm about to throw a glue trap in his cage. No, a snappy one. I want to hear a squeal. Really? You better not ask to pull over and go to the bathroom on our way there. Oh my God, this fucking rat.
This psychotic breakdown is brought to you by Shelf Help. That's
Shelf
right.
Help.
Anytime that you think you're fucked in the head, just turn on our little program. You'll get to see someone talking to an imaginary rat, or somebody else just wearing a strange hat. That's what we bring you here at Shelf Help.
There's my drums. There's sorry. That's where he was drinking the water. And then there's, oh no, there's the tubes that go down to the other cage right there. Do you see the cage? Here, I have it lit. There's another one.
You really need to get out more. I'm just saying.
Ah, what are you talking about?
Can I see the length of your fingernails there? I just want to make.
I'm not like Howard Hughes.
I'm just. Oh, look at that. Okay, well that's because you keep biting them off.
No, I don't do that. I'm not crazy. I have kids. You just
wanted a Pepsi.
you think more about stuff like that when you're not with your kids full time, you know, and they're still at the age where you should be. So yeah, thanks, buddy.
Person cinema.
All right. Did I get the sympathy? Oh, such a good dad.
Oh boy.
Um,
Oh boy.
in recent years, some have raised concerns about the integrity of U.S. elections. That wasn't an aside. That was just me coughing. I need to smoke more. And the ethics of politicians. In the 2010 case of Citizens United versus FEC and the 2014 case of McCutcheon versus FEC, the U.S. Supreme Court loosened restrictions on political spending by corporations.
Can I just ask, did she send any bikini pictures at all?
Yeah, we're going to skip ahead, right? So, sorry, there's been stuff that's happened, and a number of states have enacted reforms. No bikini pic. Blah blah blah. Then here we go. Senator Klobuchar introduced S 2747, the Freedom to Vote Act, on September 14th, 2021. If enacted, 2747 would reform the rules governing elections and political campaigns and increase ethics enforcement for public officials. It would create a nationwide automatic voter registration system and expand access to early voting, restore the voting rights for formerly convicted felons, and provide funding for states to modernize voting systems. The bill would require voting machines and their software to be developed, assembled, and manufactured in the GDAM United States of America. It would also require states to abide by specific criteria for congressional redistricting. So what's the thing with congressional redistricting? Do you know how that works? They call it gerrymandering. If you start fucking with district lines, right? Why is redistricting a thing, and what's it used for?
So I was to understand that part of the reason is population.
Right. Yep.
Is the reason why that gets moved around. But apparently the numbers can get fudged. But according to what I heard after this last election, that the conservatives / Republicans were going to have a crazy advantage coming up in the next couple of elections because of the population increase in certain areas.
Yep.
And that was definitely something that the liberals were not looking. And I hate to use liberals. I'm just going to call, all right, Democrats are the enemy. Liberals are my friends.
Yep.
So the Democrats are really, and we had brought this up before I think we went live.
It's the Marxist progressive assholes. It's the one who are trying to change everything on its end and keep everything racist and oppressive.
Right. And who have got everybody fooled, who are people of color or minorities that they think they're being spoken for, and they're not. They have no interest in them whatsoever. But I believe that is when the districts get changed is due to population. I think that's the reason behind it.
Yeah. So you guys have heard gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is when you are taking a defined district, so the population within that district, and then you find a reason to pull that boundary into another neighborhood, right? So you start changing based on what that demographic is. You're like, I want to include these people, and we're going to include these, and that's now my new district. It's done, obviously, to gain more votes.
Right.
So redistricting happens when population size changes, right? But there has to be a reasonable reason to do that, and usually it's when you gain due to population growth. It's like you have an outlying rural area that's hardly represented, and then it becomes there's let's say 100,000 people moving there. There may be both parties. If one person, Democrats in this area and the Republicans, they're both going to want to kind of at least split that group. Well, the Democrats have always wanted to do that. They wanted to go wherever, like, fine, we'll get people in the ghetto, we'll get people here, because we have now become, from being the slave owners, we are now, the pro-black, pro-whatever, pro-everything, right? We're pro-everything. Lies. You're just pro-power. That being said, what do you do when, hundreds of thousands of people move from California to Texas and to Arizona and to Florida? From the largest state, you have the largest exodus of former liberals and conservatives who are pissed about the state being destroyed, all of a sudden they want to move who's got the votes in Texas, right? You start shitting your pants because now it's almost guaranteed because you ran people out instead of drew people in that you're going to be at a disadvantage. So of course they want to be like, whoa, we need to share those people. No, you don't get to share the people that you ran off.
Yeah, the other thing is they're talking about California's going to lose some congressional seats too because of the population change.
Right. Yeah. When your classic liberals run away from a communist state,
right?
And you might, you're gonna have your heels in the ground, boots in, heels in, guns out. Most of California, guys, is not Cosmo. San Francisco used to be. LA, San Diego. Between there, yeah, you have your population density. That's probably half of the population of your state, if not more. But everybody else up the center of that damn state, you're like rural farmers. Like it's like hillbillies, trailer parks, and farmers. So what happens when you run people out of your cosmopolitan areas that was driving people in due to jobs and due to what is reasonable affordability? At some point it was. At some point you got paid enough money working in Simi Valley, in Silicon Valley, you got paid enough in order to actually live there. But since they stopped building new homes due to the fucking, muskrat or whatever the fuck it was, the titmouse, you stop doing that, then it drives everything up and up and up and up and up and up. And now what do you have left? You have people just bailing out. The sensible middle class is bailing out. The rich have already bailed out. They filled up Austin. Austin's no longer the place to live. It's full. It's overrun. They got too many people.
Right.
The exodus has been ridiculous. The problem that the politicians have is they're only in power because you vote them in, and they are only rich and powerful because you let them be. So it's dependent on however they fuck you. Oops, we knew that would happen. We didn't know it would be during my term. I thought I'd be retired by the time it caught up. They're continuously making decisions to fuck you financially, and then they try and readjust because they got to keep the power no matter what. Like, how can you not be pissed about that? Like, at least if you're at war with somebody, you know that the fucking cannons and the rifles are coming. You don't realize that you're at war with these assholes because they've taken something that was there to protect us and there to get them out if we had to get them out, and they just found a way to become rich and powerful. That's the job. There are Congress people, and there are people who want to do the greater good. They're there for the greater good. They're there for the ideal of what the Constitution stands for. But it's the greedy motherfuckers who will do anything, including suicide you, in order to keep power. How is this acceptable? What do you get from it?
We understand why it's acceptable because of the media. That's why.
Oh, they may. Oh,
because
no one's telling you what's really going on.
No, absolutely not. So basically, it's so. Did you hear about the temple in Dallas? And so it was held hostage by a Muslim dude who wanted a lady released from prison. And the first couple of broadcasts said that a white supremacist had taken control of the temple. So I have this discussion with my buddy in North Carolina who is Jewish and married to a rabbi. Any fucking Jewish person that votes Democrat is a moron. All they are trying to do, and they side with the people that are trying to eliminate you from the planet. There's no other way to say that, and yet they still vote Democrat all the time. But anyway, so your Democratic media said that it was a white supremacist, even though it was a Muslim dude. It's just
Oh,
that's the reason why they get away with what they get away with. That's why Hunter Biden's laptop is news. That's not allowed to be shown on the news.
yeah. What was in his laptop?
Oh well, just the some of the
Child porn.
the Calmer things. Well, I was going to go to the Calmer things where he's doing blow off of like hookers' tits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but it's not allowed to.
Oh, and then the money that he and his dad have together because he did
Correct.
deals overseas with China and Russia, and the $1 billion that they funneled. Like, hey, give your dad this money. Like, we got it.
Yeah, the
Like
big
the
guy,
obvious.
the
Yeah.
big guy gets a cut. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that kind of stuff. That's the reason
Bury it.
why it continually goes on. Continually, just again, explain to me how somebody like Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and she has been in public service this whole time. Explain to me. You can't, because the media won't allow it to happen. So that's the part that sucks, right? Because it all sounds like we're a bunch of crazy guys saying, oh, if it was the other way around, because it fucking would. Because if it was somebody on the Republican side that did something wrong or something that, I don't know, the base would consider, distasteful, it comes out right away and it's huge news.
Well,
But when these fuckers run roughshod, the fact, like, that's why I brought up, I want us to be fucking hardcore, just do it with whatever they have tried to pass in the last 16 years. I want it gone. I want the time for being nice Republican conservative people. God, do you remember when we were a kid, though? They would consider the conservatives like the evil old white men that are trying to hold everybody back. It's time. Fuck the world. Oh, fuck them.
you need to get one of those styluses so I can write faster. Then we can do this like fucking educational style. Like, all right, guys, follow this.
No, it's super frustrating because I think, at least in my point of view, is that I feel that, and I think Dan Crenshaw says it best, right? Is that a Republican or a conservative's job is not to make crazy changes. It's actually to think about, the story with the wall, right? You heard the difference between a conservative and a Democrat is both of them are walking in a giant field, right? And there's this freaking huge wall in the middle of the field. And both of them have no idea what it does. So the Democrat wants to remove it immediately. And the conservative goes, well, there may be a reason why this wall is here. Let me do some more research and make sure. That's the difference right there in a nutshell. Crenshaw says it all the time. I really like that he says that. Do not make change for the sake of change. Oh, this is a very Clinton, right? Wasn't this the Clinton thing?
Yeah, that was Clinton thumb all day.
Okay. Yeah. Don't make change for the sake of change. Make change when change needs to be made. That's what you should be doing. And that includes the filibuster, right? It prevents crazy shit getting shoved down the throat of the other half of the country. So, I don't know. Don't make change for the sake of change. It just, there's no reason to do that. There's no reason to scrap the last 200 years and start from scratch, because fuck, we can't even solve a problem that's brand new, let alone how are we going to change the structure of the entire government and the entire, I don't know. Sorry, I'm all over the place.
No, it's good.
I was like, oh, you know what? I really, we'll probably talk about something different today. And then fucking I saw the thing about the filibuster. They called Kirsten Sinema a fucking white supremacist. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It doesn't stop.
No.
It
really stops. I have a, for a little later on, I have a good Jordan Peterson clip. He and, who's our guy? Used to be liberal. He's gay. He lives in LA.
Not anymore. He lives in
Oh,
Florida now.
he moved away.
moved to
Yeah,
Miami.
yeah, he moved out. What's his name?
Dave Rubin.
Dave Rubin. My
Yep.
my boy Dave. That was when Dave interviews Jordan, and they talk about the Sniffles, that whole thing.
Right.
And if you remember, Jordan Peterson was out for he was basically been off the market for like 2 years. He spent a year. He had an adverse reaction to benzodiazepine drugs, trying to get off of Klonopin or clonazepam, which is a
Painkiller. Right?
anxiolytic. It's for anxiety.
Oh.
Yeah, so benzos are anxiety. That's like Valium, Xanax, clonazepam. I used to take them, but then I got divorced and I didn't have that anxiety anymore. It's really weird. I got off of 9 medications when I was single. Huh. But anyway, he was on a low-grade anti-anxiety med, which he was given for food poisoning because he was having like spasms with vomiting and diarrhea. His body was so they gave it for that, and then it worked for his anxiety, so they kept him on it. Low dose, but he stayed on it for a couple of years. Tried to come off of it, had a adverse reaction to it to the point where it was so bad, either being on it or off it, when he tried to wean off of it, that he basically became psychotic. And they wound up bouncing around hospitals. They couldn't, and countries, they couldn't figure out how to get him to not be broken anymore.
Right.
The fact that there's been no conspiracy theory about that shocks me.
Oh, really? That they tried to kill him?
Yeah, they tried.
So?
Think about he wasn't polarizing in a bad way. He was so positively polarizing.
Yeah.
Because he was so logical.
Right.
His approach is logical, and it's definitely anti. He's anti-Marxist and anti.
He's so much more emotional now, though.
No, I know.
His interviews.
He cries.
And I have a hard time because, there are very few intellectuals that I really respect and will listen to whatever they say because, number one, so much smarter than me. Love to try to get myself a little bit more intelligent. But now he fucking cries in every fucking interview, and it fucking kills me when he cries.
Yeah, because he cries for the right reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's like, how can you not be touched by changing somebody's life? Like,
Right.
There's so many. He's like, there's so many people. There's so many young men, who just crave affirmation and direction, and they just want someone to tell them, like, you can do it. Like, go.
I think part of it, which he doesn't say enough, but he does mention it, is it not that they claim they want affirmation, they just don't want their fucking dicks rubbed in the dirt and their faces pounded on, and to constantly be I don't know, told that they're the enemy of fucking society.
Yeah.
And I think that's it more than the affirmation part. I just think that you
That's a good point.
if you keep being told you're the villain, it's real fucking easy to become the villain.
Right.
It really is, because it's what people expect. So it's just, I love the fact that I don't think he sets out to only talk to men.
No. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's okay. But what I was going to say is, I think it's an amazing thing that young men, or even men in their 30s and 40s that want to make themselves better, are listening to a guy to go, hey, fuck, life is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And for them to go to not right away, to hear somebody say, hey, listen, you pussy, or hey, you're the fucking reason why this is the way it is. When he comes at it from a different approach, saying, hey, life is fucking hard sometimes. You know what? Everybody struggles. Okay, so what are we going to do about it? He's not saying crawl up in a ball and fucking get in the fetal position and just become everybody's whipping boy. He's actually saying, okay, so let's take some self-responsibility.
Yeah.
And I love, as simple as it sounds, like, make your bed. Like I had a debate with somebody the other day about chaos and clutter.
Okay.
And I don't know whether or not if I could live in a completely clean environment where I knew where everything was and there was no clutter at all, I don't know how I would survive. I don't know, because I think I'd have too much time and the voices, right? Like I don't know if that's a cop out to that, but I do feel some self-satisfaction when like an area which has been cluttered for a while gets put in order. It's like, okay, maybe that's one less thing on the mental checklist that you have to go through. But overall, I was debating with somebody and they were like, well, you're kind of a fucked up person where not unsimilar to you, where you have 17 irons in the fire at once.
Right.
I go out on my dock at night up north where I am now, and it's dark, and the expanse of the heavens is late.
Stop. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, Miss Dr. Peters. Is it doctor? It is doctor.
Yeah, Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Doctor.
Real doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor. But I don't know. He is a person that humbles me when I listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
That's weird, right? Isn't that weird? That's a little weird. But no, I think he's
he humanizes.
Yeah, and I think he unites a lot more than I think he knows, and I think he's starting to get it, and that's why he gets so emotional, right?
Yeah.
And if I got to watch it, because I'll get emotional about it too, because he basically is telling a whole generation of men, not on purpose, but men, that, hey, you know what? You do fucking matter, and you're not the fucking cause of all the chaos,
right?
And I think that's an amazing thing. I really do. Like I said, I'm gonna wind up getting fucking emotional about it, because it's nice to hear that. It really is. I love his lectures. I like listening to him.
Yeah.
A lot of them repeat a lot of the same things.
Yes.
I enjoy it more when he interviews somebody. Like I said, I just listened to the one he did with Crenshaw, and
so good.
Not many people can make Crenshaw feel like a little kid, and I don't mean this in a bad way. Meaning, Crenshaw was so excited to be on his podcast with him.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, this is cool. This is a really cool moment.
Right.
And you could hear that in his voice. And that's why I kind of dig Crenshaw, because I don't think he's overwhelmed by many things. Dude, I wonder if maybe at home he has a dog or a baby he could punch or kick or something, because the dude never loses his cool. And I guess if you fucking killed a bunch of people tried to kill you, maybe you would actually prioritize what's super important, what's super hot. So maybe that's why he doesn't get mad. And he said
he snapped at a 10-year-old girl today, though, so he got some shit for that.
He what?
Crenshaw snapped at a 10-year-old girl.
Oh yeah, for what?
Who questioned whether or not he was lumping Jesus into other personality archetypes from his podcast. We'll play it after Jordan.
A 10-year-old girl said that.
Yeah. And then he said it on his podcast, and then he's on a meet and greet, and then she gets the mic and she says, basically inferring like you called Jesus a character, and then you said these people are real life, these other type people who are archetypes of like big personality type people. And she's like basically inferring like, or asking, well, why are you saying Jesus isn't real when you say you're a Christian? And then he was like, don't you, without saying the F word, he was like, don't you question my faith. And he snapped at her. He got it.
And that's not a good look.
People booed him. They were like, what are you doing? She's a little kid, you dick.
Oh,
and they're like, let's go, Brandon, on him.
Oh, that's not a good look.
Yeah, he got his dick kicked in the dirt a little bit today. So.
Oh, that's not good.
Happens. Don't lose your shit on a 10-year-old.
No, you shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But hey, he's human. He's like a 32-year-old human being, like
who's lost one eye and the other one's almost gone because of an explosive device. And yeah, but there's no excuse. But also a 10-year-old's gonna say that. I think somebody set up the 10-year-old to say that.
You can tell he reacted as if it was a setup.
Right. Right.
Then he's like, he didn't backpedal, not much. He tried to kind of explain himself a little bit, but yeah, he kind of let it out of the bag there. Don't you question my faith? But anyway, poor Dan. Humans are humans. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but the press will love that shit, dude.
Oh,
'Cause
no.
they just look to fucking torture him. Well, I was gonna say before you brought that new information to light that he never loses his cool, but apparently,
Today.
10-year-old girls,
It pissed him off.
it's his kryptonite.
Well, first it said 11, then they backed it down to 10. They're gonna make it like a 4-year-old girl next. A really advanced 4-year-old girl asked him a question, then he kicked her in the face, called her cunt, because that's Republicans for you.
A mom removed the baby from her tit, and the baby asked the following question.
Yeah.
Dan Crenshaw.
The fetus was in utero, and he was like, "Abort yourself," like he went over the other side, It does become very dramatic, but I watched it, and Becky and I were talking about it, and I was like,
Not a good look.
Let me pull it up. I'm like, we're both like, oh, okay, well.
Not a good look.
You spin it however you want. You can watch it. And,
I don't want to watch it. Do not want to watch it.
He lashed out. It happens.
I mean, people lose their cool, but like you said, he's a human being. But back to Peterson.
Yeah.
Just he is, and I felt bad really about, because you could tell, dude, he didn't want to be famous. He did not want to be famous at all. He just didn't want to use a certain language. He really didn't. And it just
said, you can't legislate speech. That's all he said.
Well, that was it. And, I don't know, but I love our boy Rubin. I love Dave Rubin. He's such a cool cat. And he just, he's from Long Island, and he went to Binghamton up in upstate New York. Just a cool dude that I think woke up, and Larry Elder woke him up. So, and that's amazing. I enjoy that.
Jordan Peterson belonged to the Communist Party when he was a kid,
right?
He was young, and he was an active member in the Communist Party in Canada. He was as far left as you can possibly go. And then through his education and dealing with people, he started to understand that there's human nature involved. So he's a clinical psychologist. So the way he processes everything is just based on logic and research and science. And then he wrestles with opinion because he wants to quantify everything.
Right.
So as he talks and has discussions with people, they try and come at him emotionally.
Right.
And he's...
Are you better off than your grandparents are? That was the best argument I've ever heard. The best argument I ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Are you better off than your grandparents? Well, in some aspects. And he was like, in which aspects are you not?
Right.
I mean, it's, I don't know.
The feminist movement tried to take him in and tried to make him into the pariah, of course, because he's talking about equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome, and he'll give you the specifics on why what you say is bullshit, and then why some things maybe aren't.
That's right.
And he's always like, I could be wrong, but, and I watched an interview with him a little bit today. I was putting together I'm gonna make a little motivational clip stuff with Jordan Peterson. Like there's a handful out there, but I'm gonna get in the arena with that. So I started putting some together. And so I'm watching for some moments of inspiration, and he's being interviewed in England in 2018, he came about 2017. He hit some prominence, and I was on board when he did. I watched it, and I bought his first book, and then 12 Rules for Life, and then his second, which was his first Maps of Meaning, which he spent 15 years putting that book together, and it's phenomenal. It's very highbrow, very, get your PhD in psychology and human, it's a lot, but it's really cool.
He uses vocabulary sometimes that, and I make fun of myself all the time. It's accurate. I have a very limited vocabulary, so there are times that he'll say something and I'll make sure I write down, first of all, how I think the word is spelled.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's incorrect, but to really grasp what he's trying to say, I definitely want to get the full meaning.
Yeah.
And because it's interesting to me. Now, do I agree with all the things he says? No, not always, but where he's coming at it, he's such an expert in the field that you would be like, all right, well, all right, maybe in my personal life, that's not 100% correct.
Right.
Or is it, John?
But, it's funny because he talks about the differences between men and women, and he just comes at it from a clinical standpoint. Like, this is the research that has been done. So he's talking to this feminist today, and she's obviously trying to bait him. It's not the Kathy Newman one. If you guys know Jordan Peterson, the Kathy Newman and Jordan Peterson blew up the internet because she was super aggressive, trying to interview him and, put that square peg into round holes the whole conversation. And he just, like, Aikido. He was like an Aikido master. Just
well, this is where he said, well, obviously you don't care if I'm uncomfortable.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the one where he said
Right.
that. Yeah.
You don't mind making me uncomfortable. It seems like you'd rather enjoy it.
Yeah.
But that's what discourse is for. That's what this is for. It's okay. And he let her off the hook. But yeah, like that was the, what is that, Street Fighter? When you got your power move and you take their heart out? Hadouken!
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. He has those moments because he stays calm, cool, and collected. Strangely, he's able to do it. So when this feminist was trying to set him up, I just lost my train of thought. Where the fuck was it? Talking about Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too movement is what she brought up. And she's like basically saying, so do you support it, or do you think it's an issue? Like, you obviously don't. And he said, yeah, it's an issue. Obviously it's an issue. Like, it's a foregone conclusion. I didn't think we had to start with it's an issue. Obviously it is. He's like, but the casting couch meme basically has been out there for a long time, and it's been like, stereotypes exist because something is real about them. Otherwise it wouldn't exist. He's like, what you really need to look into is the culture that has been supported by all the players in that industry who have allowed it to be okay and wouldn't stand up and defend these people early on when it happened. He's
Especially
like,
the strong women like Oprah, Hillary Clinton,
right,
who all were big friends with Weinstein.
right. Everybody knew after the fact that it was a problem and nobody said anything. He goes, but he also said, so he goes, how do you contend with that? And she's like, well, don't you think there needs to be some reform and blah, blah, blah. He's like, sure. Yeah, obviously there has to be something, but it's complicated. It was like, what do you make men and women wear the same uniform? Because men traditionally wear suits to the office place, and women wear whatever they want to. But how do you desexualize them? Because here's the thing. If you look nice and I look nice, the fact that you look nice, there is something sexual about that, because men and women see each other sexually. Men definitely see women sexually. That's just biology. Right. So how much nice is acceptable? Do both parties basically wear the exact same thing? Like, you're not allowed to wear lipstick or makeup. You're enhancing yourself sexually, and that's part of the relations between men and women. How do you negate that? He's like, if something needs to be done, then what needs to be done? And I'm not saying something or that nothing needs to, but we've only been doing this for 35 years. This is the part that I was like, fuck. And he goes, men and women have only been in the workforce together for 35 years. We have 25 years worth of research that tells you what is going on between everyone, men and women. It's scientific. So if I'm quoting you something, it's based on science, which means it's repeatable. Right. And the research has been done, but it's only been 35 years that we've been in the workforce together. Right. So it's not a long period of time. Right. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean that something doesn't need to change, but we've got 25 years of research on something that's happened for 35 years only. Right. And now just pause and think about that.
Not to mention the 2,000 years of biology.
10,000 years, 100,000 years, right? Like evolutionary biology, you can go back and figure out how did they live together, what were roles and what were.
Right.
So you've got 10,000 years of biology and you've got 35 years of men and women in the workforce together.
Right.
And we think somehow it's more than that. Like my grandmother, she was born in 1917. She was the first engineering technician at Camp Pendleton, the Marine Corps base.
Right.
The first female. And that was like in the early 60s. She started, or maybe late 50s, she started doing that.
Right.
She was the first. That's not a long time ago.
Right.
So there were women in the workforce in, post World War I when it was necessary because all the men were shipped off. The women had to go, make tanks and uniforms and bullets and all that shit. And they had to go do it. But that's 100 years of history where women worked, period, outside the home. And then if you go when they worked in equal amounts in all fields, 35 years.
So this is a great segue. So what does a Democrat do about that? What does a conservative do? So a conservative does a study, looks at the data, looks at things overall as a big picture, and
Right.
goes, okay, what can we do to affect this, not only for now, hopefully, but for the future?
Right.
A liberal, a Democrat says, let's blow this fucking shit up now.
Right.
And because this is the way I feel about this this particular moment,
Right.
let's destroy everything. And I'll never understand. Well, I guess I will, because it's this generation, right? It's a gratification, immediate gratification for every level, right? So you can stream your favorite movie, you can get any food you want delivered to your house, you can all those things now. And sometimes that's great. And other times it's like, well, don't you have to think about the big picture? Don't you have to think about the consequences? Well, what's the consequence, John? Well, I can have that movie anytime I want, but now I've cut out the middlemen. So it's all these people that aren't making money on this movie that would normally make money. It's on a streaming service. It's not on TV, so they could sell commercials for it. And so that there's all sorts of different things that a conservative will think about and will actually go through it and go, well, okay, so if we go and do all this, what's the ramifications on the other side? Afghanistan's a great example, right? We pulled out instantly instead of, okay, so the plan should be, because we don't want, and what does Crenshaw always say? I don't know if I'm okay to quote him anymore, with him attacking
That's fine.
with that knife that he had and stabbed her like 3 or 4
Mhm.
times. That we're the ramifications of this instant gratification of no more never-ending wars, right? So we pull everybody out and we leave billions of dollars worth of equipment there, and also no places for us to run missions for our, 2 air bases that could have been held with 2,500 to 5,000 troops. And I think alone in freaking South Korea, we have 50,000 or something like that. So what's the conservative point of view is, hey, well, why don't we take a look at this? Okay, and what are the ramifications? What's going to happen tomorrow? Not today, but what happens tomorrow? Where the Democrat just goes, no, I need this now because this looks good now. This is what I need now. I have to have this now. That, again, is the difference between a Democrat and a conservative. And the reason why the conservative point of view, in my opinion, of course, is better, is that we take the data. We make sure, do feelings matter? God, you know what? At the end of the day, sure, they matter to the individual, but overall, the population, shouldn't it be what the overall ramifications are for everyone, not just these 12 people that it matters for, not for this 1% of 1% of the population that we're going to cause all this change for, that in fact 50% of that 1% of the population never asked for anything to happen. And that's talking about the transgender bathrooms right off the bat, right?
1.4%.
Yeah, they did not ask for this.
Nope.
Most of them did not. It's white liberals or white Democrats that aren't transgender, but decided to speak for people that they felt had no voice. And in the grand, and I'd like to think that most of that comes from a good place. I really do. But the more and more I see, the more and more I get educated on topics such as that. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's a way to win votes from other white Democrats. That's what it is. It isn't to, oh, Peterson looks scary right there. He looks like who's the guy in Russia that couldn't be killed and they tried to poison him? God, what the hell am I talking about?
He was with the Tsar Nicholas in 1904, 95. Rasputin.
Rasputin, yeah.
Yeah, Grigory Rasputin.
He looks like freaking.
Yeah, the crazy monk.
Yeah. Where they castrated him, they
poisoned him, shot him, stabbed him, drowned him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would not die.
He would not die.
Grigory Rasputin. So, just take a listen. This should be the clip that I was like, oh, because
Canadians who aren't vaccinated now cannot leave the country. Yeah. Like, what the hell? Why is that? And I got vaccinated, and people took me to task for that. And I thought, all right, I'll get the damn vaccine. Here's the deal, guys. I'll get the vaccine. You fucking leave me alone. And did that work? No. So stupid me. That's how I feel about it. It's like, well, now I have to get tested for COVID when I come back into Canada. I have to get tested before I leave Canada. Now, that might be the latter issue. That's an issue with the Americans. And so that's outside of the Canadian purview. But the restrictions to get back into Canada are even more stringent. It's like, well, why to get the vaccine then if you're not going to leave me alone? And I don't think the evidence that unvaccinated or that vaccinated people are less contagious, let's say, I don't think it's very compelling.
Yeah.
So why are the unvaccinated all of a sudden a danger?
So, I don't know whose stuff this is, but stop. I haven't heard him swear, like a little bit here and there, but he doesn't. He doesn't.
More and more now.
He doesn't. This is January. This is recent. This is like January 8th, back with Dave Rubin, and he's going on his world tour for his book, 12 More Rules. Which is impressive because a year ago he was barely able to talk for 2 hours at a time doing anything. He was in bad shape. So I'm really glad to see Dr. Peterson back in the swing of things. But for him to be like think about that logically. A lot of people went through that. They're like, I figured if I do it, then I'll do it. Just leave me alone.
Right.
Why is that not the answer? How do you sell that as the answer and then turn around and treat me like it's obviously not the answer?
Because it's never enough, right? The answer is it's never enough. So, I mean, unfortunately, and I think I've spoken a couple times about people that I know that were fully vaccinated and like, all right, this is enough. I'm like, right. What? Oh, well, I'm not getting the booster. There's no reason for me to get the booster. Well, no. If you're in for a pound, you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's the way. But now they're like, well, wait a minute, this is fucking stupid. Plus, I know somebody who vaccinated, fully boosted, and got fucking super sick with COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Super sick. And he's like, I'm so mad. I'm like, why are you mad? And difference between a Democrat and a conservative. Ready? He goes, I am so mad about this. I'm like, you know what, man? Maybe the fact you got the booster and the vaccine, maybe that's what kept you out of having a breathing tube or maybe that kept you alive.
Right.
And there, me being, instead of, because I told you this when I got COVID, I had a couple of fucking Democrats say to me, don't you feel stupid now that you didn't get the vaccine? I mean, what kind of fucking scumbag world do we live in?
Right.
That you have to, death or no death, you have to be right.
Right.
Or you feel you have to be right, or you feel that whatever stance you took earlier, well, I mean, you're what, collateral damage? But that was brutal. Like I really got pissed off. I was like, wow, I can't believe somebody would fucking say that. Not, hey, I hope you feel better.
Right.
Hey, do you need anything? Well, don't you feel fucking stupid that you didn't get the vaccine? And I was like, what? And then this guy who fully vaxxed and boosted, I was like, well, you know what? There I am taking the other side, trying to be like comforting him, right? Like, oh, maybe you didn't do the stupid thing. Maybe you did the right thing. And maybe that's why you're not ventilated and, in the hospital dying. I know you're really sick right now, but maybe that helped you out.
Look for the glass half full, right?
Well, I really think kicking somebody when they're already on the fucking ground.
Yeah, it's not.
Makes no sense.
It's poor behavior. It's just poor behavior.
As a society, unfortunately, that's where we're at, right? Ooh, I caught you. Ooh, I got. You know what I mean? It's just fuck. What happened? What happened to the day when somebody, whether you agreed with them politically or not, if they were sick, the first thing you said, "Oh fuck, dude, I hope you feel better,"
right.
Or do you need anything, right?
Right.
I mean,
let me get you some soup.
Human decency.
I care about you.
What the fuck happened to human decency?
It's been hijacked. It's been hijacked for political purposes.
And that's so sad. It really
Tribalism is bad. You don't want tribalism like that.
As a whole, it just I feel that as a whole, we really have gone to this fucking down this road that is just it's terrible. It's just there's no sense of community.
Right.
You had mentioned tribes are bad. Well, when they're small tribes and they're individualized tribes, they're fucking terrible.
Right.
But when they're more of a nation of
right.
tribes, that's a
one
good
nation
thing.
under God. That's
right. It. I just it blows my mind that to listen to these people now. Oh fuck, I'm not taking the booster. Well, I'm not taking the booster.
Right. You're like, well, you just keep going.
Just like I said, I don't know if you noticed there's 4 lines on your fucking card. I'm just throwing that out there. There's 4 lines on the card. So I heard an interesting thing yesterday. Again, segues, but we're talking about the vaccine.
Segues are for children and mall cops.
In Israel is already on their fourth
booster.
Right? Do you know they have a deal with Pfizer?
Oh,
yeah.
I tell.
Oh, apparently. They have. That's why they can only get, I guess, the Pfizer, which is what not Moderna. Oh, Pfizer, I guess, is what it would be called.
Mm-hmm.
But they have apparently a deal with Pfizer. What the fuck? They're on their 4th, and they have the worst amount of cases ever.
Because this lab-made virus, this lab-made bug, adapts to whether or not it can attack the host. So the more times they alter your genes, that virus just has to adapt to it. So there's a chance that I have Omicron. I don't feel great, but I'm still here doing this thing. But I have to be out of work for 5 days, if that's the case.
Now, can you work from home or no?
Well, that's another story.
Okay.
Technically I can, whether or not
you'll be allowed to.
The person who owns the place will allow it or not. Unlikely, but that's okay. I have a feeling I'm going to feel significantly better in 2 days if that's the case. But if not, then guess what? I have the common cold. It happens.
Right.
It happens.
Right.
Check this out. This is something that just popped in my head today. So I'm talking to my human resources person. I'm like, hey, if I test negative and I still have symptoms, can I come back to work with a mask? No, 5 days. If I test positive, it's 5 days. If I test negative, it's 5 days. Why? Why do I have to be out? Well, because you've been exposed. But if I didn't know that somebody else that I was around had it,
right,
then I would just say I wasn't, and then what? Could I come back?
So you do know that overall they're coming out now with the tests don't fucking work anymore.
I know they don't, because I've watched my girl go through it with her family.
Right.
And like her kid's like 5 tests in, and the 6th one is positive. The symptoms are over. Like I got a positive and a negative on the same day.
Right.
When I know that I had it because I had the symptoms, I lost my sense of smell and taste. I couldn't breathe right. I was gonna be like, well, I could rule either way. I didn't even tell my employer. I said I have it because one said yes, one said no. Right. The rapid said yes, the PCR said no, which is the better one. It was done at the same time by me, and I face fucked myself with that swab like I know. The PCR said no. The detailed one said no. But I was sick, and I know I had it, no fucking doubt.
Right.
So this is goofy. So I looked up. So I said, if you have to be out 5 days now, it was 10 2 weeks ago. Now it's 5.
Right. Because of the CEO from Delta. Right.
Right. So now it's 5. So let's contend with that. Okay. So I have to be out 5 days. I'm gonna burn half of my sick leave right now in January. Half done.
January. Right.
Right. Done. And then what? So the cold. How often do we get the cold as humans? Well, when you're a child, you get it between 6 and 10 times, average of 8. As a child. So if your child 8 times a year has to miss 5 days of school, do the fucking math. Okay? They're going to be out for 2 months. They're going to miss 2 months of school every year.
Right.
How do you do that when you only have 33 weeks per school year?
Right. Right.
Oh, this seems like a problem. Now everyone's at 26 weeks. Why are they doing that? What's the benefit? Okay, now you're an adult. You get past the childhood colds, rhinovirus, influenza, all the stuff. How often do we pick up the cold? Average of like 2 to 4 times, about 3 colds per year is what we get as grown-ups. So you're telling me I have to miss 3 weeks of work every year?
Right.
Whether I have leave or not, whether I have paid leave or not, I have to miss 3 weeks, no matter what, guaranteed, because you can't tell me that a cold is not the fucking COVID. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking.
One time in my life, I missed 5 days for the flu. One time.
Right.
That was in 2015. I remember because it was an awful experience. I have been quarantined so many times that we finally just gave up. And that's when the government was paying for everything. And after that, I'm like, dude, if the government's not paying for it, I'm going to come back. I'll wear a mask. I'll come back. Right. But even now, they're like, no, you can't risk it. What does that do if you have somebody who's making $16 an hour only? What if you have people in sales jobs like we have at the place where I work, where they make 16 to 20 an hour base, but their livelihood is based on their ability to make contact with prospects, continue to nurse those prospects until they're ready to make a decision to go sit with somebody, and then they are bonused based on their ability to get that to happen many times per week, per 2 weeks, for whatever. They might be someone who's making $32,000 a year, but because they are in sales, when they hit their sales quotas, they're making $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year, which might seem like a lot when the average pay in America is $37,500. But we're not talking about, working in the sticks. We're talking about people who have gained a skill set that allows them to provide for their families and do that nuclear family thing, where maybe one of the spouses doesn't have to work all the time, and they don't have to put their kids in daycare. They are trying to make a life, and that's a way to do it. If you are crippled by working in a place where you're going to get a cold more often than other places, and you have to miss 5 days every time that happens, you can't hit your sales quotas because your follow-up is gone. Your connection with those people, the relationship in sales is very important, especially when you're doing high-value sales. And sales doesn't mean giving somebody something they don't need. Understand this.
Right.
Sales is helping people make up their mind about what is the potential right course of action for them.
And the way you're talking, it sounds like that your particular sales would be multiple calls, multiple explanations. No, it's.
Hey, take your life savings and trust us to help you stretch it out longer because you're going to live until you're 90.
Right. So you not only do you have to win the hearts and minds, right? You have to make sense. It's real hard to fucking do that if you're not there.
Sorry, I told you I was going to call you on Wednesday last week, but I got sick. I wasn't allowed to talk to you. So, you went with somebody else? Okay, well, do they have the things that we were talking about that were really important to you? Oh, no, you just took it because I wasn't there. Right. You thought I was now a liar. That's unfortunate. Like, okay. Now, it affects everybody.
Absolutely. My job is a great example, right? Where I do Zoom calls, I do webinars, I do phone calls, I do emails. But I do in-person training or in-person visiting to let a company know how important they are to the overall structure of what I do for a living. That is no longer available. So granted, I've become creative because I can kind of shift a little bit, right, in the middle of the journey. But overall, it's still one of those quivers, so to speak. I mean, arrows in the quiver, right? The quiver is where the arrows go.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's something that I haven't been able to pull out, and I love not pulling out. And it has definitely made things suffer. It is absolutely suffer. Now, I don't make a commission, but a company relies on me to get 10,000 to 12,000 services done a month. I no longer have the ability to use one of my skill sets, which is to be in person, to have a beer with somebody, go play around a golf with somebody, which people are like, oh, it sounds like white people problems to me. Well, probably, but the amount of responsibility and the things that I can't do because of a fucking super cold, it is, it's blowing my mind that we have basically changed society as a whole over something that once they finish the numbers will have killed less than 500,000 people over 2 years. Once they change the numbers, that's gonna happen. But it's funny, they still, smoking's not outlawed. No offense to smokers. I'm just saying. The war on fentanyl is nowhere near where it should be.
Right. Trump was after that though, but it's gone by the wayside because it would affect the companies that are making this fucking vaccine.
Right. It is super sad of what we're seeing right now, and thank God we have outlets like this, or I'd have to start punching babies and kicking dogs. So I mean, or catching rats in my house on glue traps and then putting them in there because
Hey, I saved most of them. The last one I just folded in half in the trap and threw in the trap.
We need to find a place where you either can sit down, lay down, relax, be in a position where we can socially go see one another. So I can sit there and drink in front of you.
I get around.
Folks, he just wants me in his apartment where he can go.
This is a house. This is a freestanding fucking house.
Oh, you live in a house? I thought you lived in an apartment.
Jerk.
And you just wanted me to be able to answer the question, does this rag smell like chloroform to you? And the answer is
this GHB like concentrated or is it like diluted? I'll take that drug. That's fine. Oh, this tastes like Rohypnol.
It is. Our kids as a whole
as opposed to as a half. Half of our kids.
Well, now aren't they only half your kids? Oh, that was so mean. Nothing, not even a smile.
Fucking dick.
Had no social skills. They have no social skills. Everything is through the phone. Everything is and even when they text message, they don't use full words. So what kind of
they'll send pictures.
Right. What kind of chance do they stand when this is over? If it's ever going to be over, what chance do they have to have normal social skills? None.
Rebecca texted Hannah, my youngest, and was just checking in, just, hey, sweetheart, I just wanted to help, see if you're, whatever. I'm thinking about you. I hope you're having a great day. She responded with a picture of a cat. I was like, hey, did Becky text you? Yeah, that was very nice. What did you say? I sent her a picture of a cat. Why? I didn't know what else to say. You didn't say anything. That's a picture of a cat. Right. Well, I like cats. Okay, then.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm so disappointed. Like... I get my kids are intimidated by my ability to communicate my thoughts and ideas. I get it. I understand. I don't expect you to get up in front of people. I don't expect you to put yourself out there the way I do. I never have. Your mom's not like that. She's an introvert. She's shy and she wants to throw up when it comes to talking to people. So I get it, but it's not hereditary. It's somewhere in between. Not a picture of a cat. At least your mom would say, like, hey, thanks. Guys, how hard is it? What would you say if you were writing a letter? Would you just draw a picture of a cat? No, I would say, dear Rebecca, thank you so much. There you go. Same thing. Write a fucking letter. Sorry.
No, it's
just like,
you know what though. But who do you blame on that, right? Who do you blame on that?
me, her,
No,
mom.
No. You can't because you know for a fact when you were a teenager, your parents had zero influence on you, and your friends.
Yeah, they had
and
all of
what
it.
was going on. You know, I'm right. That nobody. Listen, I tell the story all the time. The first time I ever heard a curse word was on the 6th grade bus. I'm not lying to you. The first time I ever heard a curse word, I was like, what is this? I was like, holy, never heard my parents swear, ever.
That's
6th
wild.
grade. So that influenced, obviously, my vocabulary ever since. But that's what you, what's the right way to talk? What's the right way to communicate?
Right. What's socially acceptable?
Correct.
And that's key. Is society, social.
Well, because as a kid, right, you want to belong, you want to do, because it's called survival. I mean, it really is, right? In a nutshell, you do the things you do until you have the wherewithal to not give a fuck what other people think, right? Some people never get that, Jeff.
Yeah.
Ever. Some people will.
They're called progressives.
Right. Well, they'll toe the company line, right? And
that's where hey, can't we all just get along? This is for everybody. We should leave anybody out. Go ahead and focus on that group. It's not me right now, so that's cool. I'll support that.
Right.
Because individualism is frightening. Because then you have accountability.
Correct.
And you can fail.
Because people fail. That's
scary.
All of a sudden, you're the center of attention, not for what they think is the right reason. Right. It's because they're different. They're odd. So I wouldn't. I mean, if I were you, I'd have a conversation and kind of dig deeper into it. But you can't blame yourself for that, dude. You can't. You can't possibly. Nothing. Listen, they love you, but they don't give a fuck if you think they're cool or not. Yeah. They could care less.
Right.
They love you and they want you to be proud of them, but they do not care if you think they're cool. They do not give one shit about that at all.
Right.
Like I said, they want love and they hopefully respect and that you care. But yeah, I don't give a shit if my dad thinks I'm cool. In fact, if my dad thinks I'm cool, maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
Right. I mean, so you can't. I mean, even when we were kids, it was the same way. I mean, it was the same way that I didn't care. Hey, I didn't want to ever hear my dad say that he was disappointed in me. And we weren't very, like one of the things that I think I'm the most proud of is that my daughter and my son, when we hang up, before we hang up, love you guys, love you, always say that. My son kisses me on my forehead. I think half of it is because it's a short joke. And the other part is because I think he loves me. He always kisses me on the forehead when he sees me and he says goodbye or whatever.
Yeah, my kids do that too. And they mean it, because sometimes I'll walk away thinking like, all right, I'll drop them off at mom's house. And I'm like, all right, I'll see you guys later. And they're like, what?
Right.
And it's not just goodbye, but it's at hello. It is randomly just walking out to get a drink. Or Hunter's like, hey, Dad, can I bum one of your prime times? Little cigar. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. I mean, I was stealing that shit when I was 6. You're 19. I'm okay with it. Right. Gay, can I burn? I wouldn't ask, but he asks every time. Come on, thank you. You're 19. You're trying to be a rebel, and you're asking your dad's permission to be a rebel. Like, that's so cute. And you're doing it in a. Dad, I made sure I ashed it out, and then I put it in the trash, and then it was okay. So thoughtful. And then he comes in and he's like, hey. I'm like, all right. He's like, I'm going to go to bed. I'm like, all right, buddy, have a good night. I love you. And he's like, well, can I get a hug?
Right.
He's 19. Oh, yeah, of course. And he means it. He's like, I love you, Dad. Right. So you're right. They have kindness. They have love and adoration. They understand that that's an important part of their existence, and they crave it, which is also something that's really cool too.
Right.
It kind of goes with having that kindness in their heart, you know.
Well, I get yelled at when he says "love you," and I go, "All right, bye." I said
Right.
"love you," right, and it's and half the time I do it just so he'll have to say it again
Of course,
because I'm a little bit of a dick.
it's like me saying, "Bruh,
Bruh.
Dad, stop, bruh, what?" Yeah.
No, but like I said, you know, the way that they communicate. I mean, they've been set up to fail by society, and
Wow.
set up to fail through school, online schooling. I mean, it is zero social skills involved in it.
And then now take them out of school for
Correct.
40 days.
Yep.
Every time they have a fucking cough.
Yeah,
Like,
it's absurd.
what are we doing?
Our education system is fucking garbage to begin with,
Why are we dumbing them down?
and we're just. Oh, did you hear about
What
Youngkin?
compliance?
Did you hear
No.
Youngkin?
No.
Oh, one of the things he fucking said today. We will excel at science and math. It all goes back in. This is why they go to school. I was like, fuck yes.
I heard he came out and he with like 11 declarations. I didn't get a chance to look at him, but
I didn't
remind
hear-
people who we're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't hear what all 11 were,
Mhm.
but CRT has been outlawed in the state.
He's the governor, mayor,
Governor of Virginia.
Governor, Virginia.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, kids, they do not have to mask in school. Now, listen, if as a parent you want your kid to wear a fucking mask, then have your kid wear a fucking mask.
Right. It's your choice.
Absolutely.
It's your choice. And they should not be mocked for it. They should not be derided for it.
No.
Can't stop children from acting like children, but they should be supported in having that choice. It's fine.
And that's absolutely fine. I mean, and that's, you know, that's the way it should be. You want to wear a mask, wear a fucking mask. Because I got news for all you out there. Your fabric masks 0% works.
Zero. Just like we knew from the beginning.
Yep. And
You're not wearing
an
an N95
even the ones
mask.
that are blue and white that look like the medical ones.
Right. They're not.
Zero.
They're just for spatter, blood spatter. That's all they're for.
It is nothing. I have the KN95 one.
N95s, yeah.
So you put it on and you breathe in, the fucking mess sinks in.
Yep.
Because they're basically close to airtight. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to do to people's fucking lungs, but at least that cotton won't be on the inside there, and you won't be breathing in that cotton. That's a positive.
If you're wearing a mask and you can't tell whether or not you brushed your teeth, then you're not wearing the right mask.
Correct.
I'll grab one watch. Keep talking, John.
Well, I just put my mask on.
Oh.
No, and I think it should be an individual's choice. I mean, absolutely. And if you don't want to fucking go outside because you're afraid to catch the major cold, then fucking Grubhub that shit. I don't know. We have the ability to do that. But to shut everything the fuck down is just, it's dumb. All it does is increase suicide rates, destroys small businesses. I mean, it's, you know, absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, one sec.
Yeah, you got to come back because I got to pee, man. But this is what I was talking about with the mask. If you put it on and you breathe in, doesn't work that way with a cloth mask. Chat room has been very quiet this evening. Oh, we only have 2 people watching.
Actually, there's like 180 watching.
180, that's scary.
They're just not.
I don't like to talk in front of that many people.
They're not in chat.
That makes me very nervous.
That's just on the Twitch side. All right, so this This is a traditional matte cloth mask. This one's provided by the company I work for.
Well, that's pretty fancy, though.
My most comfortable mask by far.
Okay.
Fits face well. Wear your glasses on top. I like it. Ineffective. I was wearing this both times I, confirmed got COVID. Right. I can only think. This is one, this is a kid's mask, hermetically sealed. Got a bunch of these. I remember going out to buy my first mask, and they had all these like in little bags like this at the store. Right. They were Japanese ones that were made for people who just wanted to look cool. You could tell too, they were pieces of shit. So this is for a kid. Another one. It's made out of cloth. So, interesting. At my place of business, you used to be allowed to vape inside. Water vapor, right? When mandatory masks started, they realized.
How come Transplanted Devil used to have to sit by the window far away from everybody at work? Do you remember why?
Because you dipped? Yeah, nicotine inside the building was against the company policy.
At McDonald's, yes, it was.
But we knew that John without his nicotine was not a good John. So we just kept him in the corner. Keep your dip over there, son. Nobody drink off his desk. So
why do you have 2 coffee cups?
Yeah. When masks were necessary at my place of business, they found this out.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that you're gonna do that. Yep, right through.
And they said, "Oh, guys, no more vaping inside," because you realize you can see your breath hitting everyone in the face when you were talking.
Correct.
So if you're, 6 feet away,
and water vapors are a lot smaller than fucking. Yep.
It's the same propulsion.
Absolutely.
That comes out of your lungs at any other point. Now,
I had a buddy who, when they first started it, is that the
KN95?
Yeah, that's the one I have. Yeah. This is legit. Oh, it does have. Oh no, it's fabric. No.
Layers of protection. PFE greater than 95%. BFE 95%. FFP2 protection. Anti-infection. Dust protection. Parts per million 2.5. Gives instructions on the back. A lot of instructions on how it works and what to do. So let's check this out. At this point, my natural immunity is going to be so strong, I will be able to go into bathhouses and lick people with AIDS and be fine. Don't do that anymore.
What?
Fauci outlawed bathhouses in San Francisco, even though he went to them himself.
That's where he did all his AIDS research.
That's right. Let me see. And I didn't get it. I don't think it's Sue Seaman. All right. Now, this mofo you put on, and then you compress around your nose. All right, let's try the vape.
This is good. This is good experiment. Should only come out the sides. That's where it should come out.
Uh-oh.
This is a good experiment. Only at the sides. Yep, on the bottom and the top.
That's it.
That's it.
You see the difference?
Absolutely, night and day.
For 2 years, we were told to wear something
that
made a lick of fucking difference. Zero.
No.
Zero. And when they outlawed vaping in the building because of the obvious transmission of vapor, right. I was like, wait a second. I'm still going to do it anyway. I'll just blow it under my desk or something. No, I was like, are you just trying to make people feel better that these don't actually work?
100%. 100%.
I ask my bosses because it's bullshit. We know it doesn't work. There's no reason to wear it. And then they would. Here's the best part. You see two executives talking to each other, two managers, and they'd be like, I don't know, fucking. They just take the mask off because they can't read lips, and you're in a place where there's noise, and they're like, the closer they got, the less masks they wore.
Yep.
But then as soon as they walked through the building where they weren't around anyone, they put their mask on. I said, guys, what are you doing?
Right.
It's illogical. I can literally see spit leaving your lip and hitting his lip while you guys are talking, but you can't. You're trying to low talk, and you kind of get closer. You realize that low talking. You're reading lips. That's what you're doing. You can't read lips with a mask on.
The best to me is the NBA, where the coaches wear the masks, except when they're in the huddle and
Right.
they need to give instructions.
Right.
They take the
'Cause they
fucking
can-
mask
Because
down.
they can't fucking hear you.
What the fuck are you doing?
Right.
What is the point?
There's
It's
no point.
all for show. It's none for go.
It's all for optics.
That's it. But that is a great example of what we were talking about, though, with the vapor only coming out the top and the bottom. That's the only place it's going to come out with the KN95s. I know for a fact, because the industry I'm in, from the beginning, our techs were well protected because they already wear these masks. By the way, Mama Fox enjoyed the mask fashion show.
I got you, baby. I got you. All day, every day.
But
Want to see my KN95 jock straps?
Ooh,
Ooh. You can blow vapor through those too.
I don't think it's vapor.
You can blow something. All right, it's gone.
I am going to take a 2-minute so I could go pee, please.
Okay.
Is that coffee?
I'm going to play a little Jordan Peterson. I made this clip. There's no music behind it or anything, but I've done this before on Shelf Help, and it's about when I was looking to... I wanted to find out if I was alone in this world about how much I was suffering going through my divorce. And when I found this humanized the experience and made me feel like I wasn't the only one who felt like my life had ended. So this is not to be sad. It's eye-opening, and it's just some truth. So a student was asking him basically if there's any, he's talking about why monogamy is often supported in communities. Like, why do we support the idea of monogamy? And his lectures are basically about that it provides continuity, it gives the man a reason to stay around, it's good for the kids. Like, well, you can't mandate it, but divorce laws shouldn't be so liberal that it allows people to bail out, especially if they have kids, easily, because it's a shitty outcome no matter what. So this was a couple minutes of him giving his point of view. Uh-oh, hi, that's me. Let's move me. All right.
You kind of made a point that if you stay high quality,
Hold on.
high quality.
Sequential relationship. So expensive. And of course, there are strong things to be said on both sides. But
Right here.
see, there's some additional problems with divorce that people don't really grasp when they're young. Like the idea that you can be divorced once you have children, that's kind of a stupid idea, because you can't. You can find a limited substitute for your initial freedom. But if you have kids and you try to get divorced, the probability that that's going to demolish your life is very, very high. First of all, it's incredibly expensive. So one or both of you is going to come out of that poor. And your market value has declined. Let's say you're the woman who takes the kids. Your market value has declined radically. You're going to be poorer. The man, he's just as screwed, because he is now an indentured servant, and there's no escape from it. So it's not so bad if you can negotiate a peaceful separation, and some people can, but
lots of times if you have a terrible relationship, it's not like negotiating a peaceful separation is all that easy. But if you're at each other's throats, good luck to you. I think it's roughly equivalent to having non-fatal cancer. It is not pleasant. It's a 10-year process, 15-year process. It'll cost you $250,000, and it'll tear a big chunk out of your life. And also it will really disrupt your relationship with your kids. And you know, you bring kids into a step-parent family, they do not do as well. Step-parents are not as good parents as biological parents, and the data on that is clear. Now, obviously there are exceptions, because there are terrible biological parents, and there are wonderful step-parents. But if you look in aggregate, it's not that easy to care for children. You need everything you can binding you to them. And if they're someone else's children, mostly they get in the way of the person that you love, right? Well, if let's say you have a child, I'll be right out. Let's say you have a child and I want to go out with you. Every second you spend with that child is a second you don't spend with me. And there's going to be a price for that. I'm not going to be happy about that. And if I have a child, you're going to feel exactly the same way. You might say, well, no, I love children. It's like, yeah, sure you do. I doubt it. You might love your child. And you know, it's pretty specific the way that people love children. So, and the rate of abuse for kids in step-parent families is way higher than it is in biological families. There's not even any comparison. So, anyways,
that's just research. So he understands that to be true.
And that has to do with, that also has to do with biology, right? Where that's why, with nature, that's why a baby smells a certain way to a parent, so that this is just nature overall, so they do not kill.
Right.
I mean, it's just nature.
There's all these there's hormones and there's all these things to bond you to the child in order
Correct.
to make sure that you can tolerate their crap. So I would say that although they're not legally married, because that would end the child support. The alimony. Her choice of a man. He's a good dude. He's kind of a dork, but he's a dork. But that being said, he's a good guy. He's good to the kids. He's good to her. I don't know why he's so psychotic that he would have jumped into that. It must be love, I guess. But then again, I'm kind of doing that myself too. I'm like, divorced with 3 kids? That's crazy. And they're the same age as my 2 younger teenagers and a 6-year-old. Yeah, so I can't really judge. But I'm like, gosh, Lord, you love her. Okay, I get this. Crazy. She even says, I don't understand why he's with me. I'm not even that good in bed. I was like, I know, right? I know. No, I didn't say that. I said, oh.
I hate when the camera does this, where it gets all.
Put your hand up in front of it and make it focus on your hand and then pull it back. No, that's a little close, like more towards you.
Like that.
You see what I did?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't do that. There you go. Just, you have to give it a reason to pull focus. So focus and then focus.
I was thinking tapping it would work, but apparently you can't fix everything by tapping it.
No, not everything. So you want to do some Glenn Youngkin?
Yeah, give some of the 11 executive orders that he has signed in the last couple days.
Describe to our progressive viewers, Dadbod, Bikerbeard, self-help show. Check out the website, go buy some shit. Okay, cool, thanks. theshelfhelpshow.com. There's pornography too, but it's not on my website. I'm just telling you, there is, period. Okay, so Glenn Youngkin, tell everyone the ballad of Glenn, and then how he got here, why this is important.
So, Virginia is a very blue state. Let's just start there.
Blue meaning progressive Democrat.
Correct. And leading up to the election, Youngkin was a little bit ahead of where most conservatives would have been. but he was going to lose. It was a pretty much Vegas, and yes, kids, Vegas has odds on things like that.
Oh, they do.
He was behind probably, I want to say 7 or 8 points, somewhere around there. So they really thought that it was going to be a possibility. Well, the governor-elect, no, not the governor-elect. What is the current governor?
Who's the governor?
Incumbent.
The incumbent, yeah.
Okay. Made probably the worst decision you could ever make especially for your base. He basically told white parents, that they had no say in how their children's education went. So he went from 8-point lead to losing by, I want to say, 1.5. Does that sound about right? It was 1.5%, something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, especially when it came to CRT. Listen, our education system is terrible. I remember the things that we learned in social studies or history class. They don't teach any of that stuff anymore. And it's the good and the bad, right? So CRT basically just was the bad. And basically, number one, they lied and said it wasn't a critical race theory. Sorry. They lied and said it wasn't in the
curriculum.
And it was. They proved that it was. But also
because everyone was doing school at home, so the parents could see the video, dumbasses.
They finally could see what was going on with their kids. And what he did was turn registered Democratic women, that's how he lost, basically into mama bears, and you don't fuck with mama bears. And basically they came out in droves and voted for Youngkin. And it was an unbelievable, it was also a sign of the times, right? I think that, if you look at the latest Quinnipiac poll, did I say that right? Quinnipiac?
Yeah.
He's at 33% Biden right now. That's lower than Trump ever was by a fucking ton.
Yeah.
So there were no coattails to hang on, right? So anyway, you poke the mama bears, and mama bears decided to organize and actually come to vote. But the other thing that they were doing is that the FBI, and this is well documented, I don't know if it was, I think it was a school district in Virginia or West Virginia. I don't know which one it was, but it was Virginia. So they actually told the FBI that the parents were acting as terrorists by coming to the school board meetings and actually, and 99% of them acting like mature adults going, hey, I'm concerned about what my kids are learning. And basically the school boards shut the parents down, wrote a letter to the FBI, and the FBI was actually investigating parents as domestic terrorists.
Right. Because they would get mad. They'd be like, we're not talking about this. And they'd be like, no, you're talking about this because these are my kids. They're like, that's a threat. That's assault. Right. That's terrorism.
Right.
Because you raised your voice. That's terrorism.
So not only did Youngkin win in Virginia, it came fucking awful close in New Jersey, which New Jersey is as blue can get. And it came very close in New Jersey. In fact, there were people shitting bricks that night because they were like, oh my fucking God. So anyway, so that's why Youngkin won in Virginia. It was a victory. You know what?
Didn't the incumbent have didn't have Biden, Harris, and Obama Trump for him?
All of them.
That didn't help. That didn't help the cause. They didn't want to hear from. They did not want to hear from the assholes who fucked everything up.
No, I mean, and the thing is this, right? Is that 2 weeks before the fucking election, he said parents have no right to decide what is being taught in their children's schools.
Yep.
So anyway, Youngkin won. It was a great victory for the real woke. I'd like to say the people that fucking finally woke up. Hey, welcome to the club, guys. We've been keeping the coffee warm and the beer ice cold. It's nice that you guys are starting to fucking wake up. It's a shame it's taken this long, but it has gotten insane. Between masking and vaccinating 5-year-old children, it's become insanity. Absolute insanity. So go ahead. Why don't you talk about some of the executive orders that governor-elect, right? He would have been governor-elect. Now he's real governor.
Yeah. No, he's real governor. So Youngkin, he's 54 years old. Just a little more background on him specifically. 54. This is the first time he ran for office. He's known in finance of just being a powerhouse. Oh, by the way, he used to play basketball. He was 6'7" in college. He now lists 6'5", but I think that's to make him seem a little less like an alien. Because you don't shrink too well. No, yeah, you can shrink 2 inches.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I get that. So 6'5" now. He's worth $440 million. So he was able to finance himself. Yeah, like he goes to church, he raises his family, he does his business, and then he thought, like, well, someone's got to do it. Like, enough with this shit. You know, I mean, here's the thing. The American dream that they want to take away is they want to take away the ability of somebody who has made themselves financially successful in an industry, less competitive than the incumbent asshole that they're going to give $180 million to of taxpayer money to run against you. So if you remember the U.S. Constitution, if you watched show 1 or 2 that we did, I went over the Constitution and we went over the Bill of Rights a bit. Is what was it? Declaration of Independence? Actually, Declaration of Independence. We went over it. Is basically when the people are tired of the governance that's not representing them appropriately, then they will have the need to rise up and take it over. And they deserve the opportunity to do that. And the Declaration of Independence was stating that specifically. Hey, when in the course of human events, if people find it necessary to now make a fuss, then they're going to do it. And here's the reasons why we are doing it. And that was our declaration to King George V. It's people who have amassed the financial ability to, pay the printing press and the telegraph to get their message out. They're the ones that you support in your community to do that because they rise to the top of your community, but they're still part of it. That's the thing, is people forget that. They're still part of your community. You don't hate the person who is successful. You use them to be your voice. Hey, Glenn, you're a gazillionaire. Why don't you say something? They'll listen to you. Money talks and bullshit walks.
Right.
So you need those people, But the bullshit NASA bill they're trying to put through is to do the opposite. Is to take the bartender AOC, give her some grassroots money from the fucking Bilderberger group, and then help her get up there, and then just change the rules so the rich people don't have to fund her anymore, because there's a lot of paperwork when you're doing $75,000 contributions. You just make it a grassroots thing, and now let's make it a tax thing, because how did you get $20 million in $200 donations? That's a lot of paperwork. Let's just make sure that the taxpayers match it, and then we don't have to worry about it. So just stay. Whoever we pick, they get to stay. So anyway, here's your guy, Glenn. He goes in hard. There's a series of missteps by the incumbent, like you said. First off, having the people they don't like represent, and then secondly, opening your fucking mouth and acknowledging that their suspicions are true. That's the best part, is when they're like, hey, it's like when one of the cast of characters in a Marvel movie fucks up on Conan or something. Right. He's like, well, everybody dies at the end. Well, not everybody, other than half. They're like, oh no. And you see, like, they give up a spoiler. You're like, oh, I'm fucked. Uh-oh. So that happens, regardless of how hard they get pressed to keep to the talking points. They fuck up. So let's go see what Mr. Glenn Youngkin has done now that he has taken Virginia back. One of the nicest things I saw was some people being interviewed after it happened. And they were like moms. Could be my wife. It could be John's wife. They're just like moms. And they were like, hey, what got you to get out and support this guy? And it's crazy what she said. Like, it's revolutionary. She said, well, you know, as a family, mom and a dad, we're just trying to raise our kids the best way we possibly can. I'll be honest with you, because all the noise in politics, I haven't really been paying that close of attention because I'm getting tired. I'm tired of hearing it. It's just noisy. It's just, we just try to ignore it. We do homework. We go to PTA meetings. We go to church. We spend time with family. That's what we do. So we don't even pay attention. But the noise got so loud and it became so obvious that we were being personally affected that there's no choice but to rise up and then voice our opinion. Because they're trying to figure out, why do you have this big conservative swing all of a sudden when you didn't have that previously? It's because the noisemakers are the progressives. The people who just want to raise their kids and be left the fuck alone aren't paying that close of attention until you step on their dicks.
Yep.
Now there's a problem. You fuck with Mama Bear's cubs, now there's a problem. So if you think that it's 50-50 split between progressives and libertarian conservatives, it's not actually. It's because the people who want to be left alone stay out of it.
Yep.
You know,
Say a fucking word.
like let the progressives go slap each other in the face and call each other names, and what? Who cares? Just as long as I can do the things I want to do, which is feed my family, get my children educated so they can be productive members of society, pay my taxes, go to church, and amen, hallelujah. I'll do that until I'm dead because I have a sense of purpose and community.
Right.
Once you fuck with that community, you start shaking the beehive and you start shaking the hornet's nest. You don't know what's going to happen next, because what you did not take into account is they have been the silent majority this whole time.
Correct.
It's my argument that you don't want to piss off. You don't want to piss off the people who have an IQ above 120 who have all the guns, because they've figured out a way to take you out already. They just didn't know that it was time. You know what I mean? They're not giving up Jesus and barbecues until they're told, hey, guys, it's time. Oh, it's time?
Yeah.
Now you're fucked. This is where revolutions happen. This is what takes over. This is what declarations of independence, this is why civil wars happen. It's because those who have a greater purpose, they have the ear of God, they have some sort of righteous understanding of their place in the universe, and they're humble about it. Humble. Those are the ones that when you piss them off, things don't go well. It's always the quiet dad that when he shouts, frightens the neighbors.
Correct.
It's the one who shouts all the time that nobody pays attention to. This is why if something bad happens to you, you don't yell rape.
Correct.
You yell fire. That's a bigger impact. Now they come out and they'll fucking put the fire out. So, just a thought. Glenn Youngkin. Let's see. Newly elected Virginia governor. Yep. Executive order. So, to some degree, orders and directives are about making sure those folks who worked hard to get them elected, went out and knocked on doors, who do that sort of work, knows that on day one, they've not been forgotten, he said. Executive order number 1. Youngkin delivers on a promise from his campaign banning critical race theory. In the order, Youngkin promises to restore excellence in schools and ban divisive concepts.
Love it.
In it, he also outlines heightened standards for Virginia schools. You're not going to fucking suck. Otherwise, you're out. We can read the order there, but we'll hit it high level. Another popular promise from his campaign, ending mandatory masking in schools. The order says parents have the choice whether or not students wear masks, and teachers can't require them to. The fucking dictators. Some school districts like Nelson and Albemarle are still asking students to mask up, saying they're going to follow the public health order that says schools must follow CDC recommendations. Yeah, watch. Arizona was the first state to pass a law that said mask mandates in schools will be illegal. They did that early on before the kids went back. I'll give Governor Ducey credit for that. He was like, nope, mandates will never be legal in any of the schools, period. I'm like, he took the power away because they shouldn't have that power. Number 3, Youngkin promises to restore integrity and confidence to the Virginia Parole Board. Martin said, the parole board has released violent offenders without proper notice or transparency. My office was one of the many around the state who had very violent folks released without any notice to us or notice to the victims, or in the case of homicides, notice to the victims' families. You know, they're letting criminals out for COVID. We don't want you to get sick. It's the purge, guys. It's the fucking purge. Literally, they were just trying to be divisive and create as much chaos as possible to hide whatever's going on behind the scenes. So, with Executive Order 3, here we go. All members of the parole board were hired, and Youngkin will select 5 new members. Did they mean hired or fired?
I don't know.
I'm kind of curious. I hope he fired them. Like, fuck you, you're out. Like Ronald Reagan and the air traffic controllers in 1980. Oh, what? Oh, yeah, you're in a union? You're fired. All of you. Disband the union. Public safety is number 1. Number 4, he says he will investigate wrongdoing in Loudoun County Public Schools. Youngkin writes in the order, in the spring of 21, the Loudoun County School Board and the administration of the Loudoun County Public Schools were made aware of a sexual assault that occurred in the Loudoun County High School. A decision was made to transfer the assailant to another high school where the student was able to do it again.
So the father that was at that board meeting that got arrested and shit,
Yep.
he is going to bankrupt that school district.
Oh, and this is where they started the terrorist thing. It was the father of a daughter who was raped at the school, and instead of prosecuting the child, they moved him to another school where he raped again.
Yep.
And they wouldn't speak about it, and he tried to bring it up in a meeting. Why aren't you doing anything to protect our kids? And they called him a terrorist, had him arrested. The cops fucking tackled him and dragged him out.
Yep.
Because he just asked, why aren't you doing anything? Not threatening, asking a question. Questions are assault. That's a microaggression. That's a macroaggression. Yeah, you're all fucked. Okay. The Attorney General will investigate alleged crimes. Read the order here. Number 5, Youngkin says he will create a new position, Chief Transformation Officer, an EO, and Executive Order 5. He says some agencies like the Department of Motor Vehicles, and the Virginia Employment Commission aren't operating well. No shit, they never have. So he wants to pursue a statewide audit. Oh, what happens when they come in to determine how fucked you are, and you don't even have enough wherewithal to hide your fuckery?
Mm-hmm.
You go into your MVD or DMV wherever you live, and it seems like a disheveled fucking nightmare. And when you're upset, they call the supervisor over, who's another 300-pounder, who's on life support, just trying to get through her day to make more money than she deserves. Sorry, I'm going to say she. I don't know her fuck her pronoun. You know, that's just the rules. That's how it works. Line number 2, please. 2, please. 2, please. 2. Really? I pay your fucking salary. Simple question. Then you go to line 2, and they're like, okay, I have, go ahead, line 4 over here. Oh, really? I'm back to you now. It worked out for you. Oh, you just like fucking with people, don't you? Oh, no, you have no power. You live in a trailer with a cat because your husband left you for your cousin because she's less fat. Good for you, loser. Go back to the DMV and treat people poorly. There's no repercussion for any of it. No. They just assume, because my entire life I know you go to the DMV, it's a fucking nightmare. Not wrong. Not wrong. We all think that. Why?
Actually, as states go, the MVD here isn't that bad.
Yeah, I like Arizona, actually. They're really nice. California sucks dick. California sucks dick, that's fact. But yeah, Arizona, they're actually, hi.
Yeah.
You have proof of this, this, and this. I'm like, no, I don't. He's my child. They're like, well, how do we know? I'm like, son? He's like, Dad? I'm like, see? Like, well, that's close. Can you sign an affidavit? Fuck yeah. And then I saw it, they let me go. I was like, look at that. Look at that. I love Arizona for that reason. Because they're like, I need a proof of this, and a proof of this, proof of this. Do people normally walk in with 16-year-old boys who resemble them at least in the nose? You can tell, right? You know, like you resemble them at least enough. You know, who look like they're annoyed and not a child or what's it called? They haven't been subject to like child trafficking. You know, like
sex trafficking.
does he look raped or does he look like irritated? You know, like tell me. Look at him. He's not making eye contact for a reason because he's a teenager. He's on his phone. Do all of them walk in? They got like fucking like the Samsung Galaxy 20, you know? They're like, oh hentai. Looks like he's just not my kid. Like, come on, he's in the hentai. You know he's mine. I look like a pervert, don't I? But not that kind. Anyway,
Is a 16-year-old girl another story?
guys, no, look at my 16-year-old daughter. Does she look like she's embarrassed or like she's being raped? You could tell the difference because I know what your children look like when your ex-husband left.
Oh my god.
Sorry. That was awful. Oh. He hired me as a PI to take pictures. All right. Sinatra.
Next.
Isle Prison. Oh, Isle Prison. Oh, son, it's going to be a while before we see each other again. Look at my butthole. Right? Looks tight. Wait for it. All right. I deserve that. Jesus. How can I go that much further? I have a fever. I have COVID. Okay. Okay, this is my signal for go back 90 seconds or go back 3 minutes and delete. Make that, John. Do like that. I have to be able to see it. Okay, so whenever I see that, when I'm stop. 2 hours and 40 minutes ish. All right, number 5, Youngkin says you will create a new position. Oh, we already did that.
Yeah, that was where the salt. This
Number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. Number 6. He will. He says he will combat measures like shutdowns and training requirements to declare Virginia open for business. He says the current regulations impose heavy burdens and don't protect customers. So you're going to get it shut down, everybody, just because. Right. I saw this great reel, I guess, being sent around Instagram or Facebook, whatever it is, and they're the same. They owned by Meta. And it was, jackbooted thugs coming into a restaurant and telling them that they are under, they're under lockdown orders and they're not allowed to be open. And they're like, the jackbooted thugs are like, there will be orders filed against you. And she's obviously this Jewish lady. She goes, "Oh, really? What orders? Like, what charges? Tell me the charges." Said, "Well, there'll be charges." They will tell me about the charges. What are they? I'm just warning you, there's going to be charges. Oh, you're warning me there's going to be charges. So, if you don't know what the charges are, does that mean you're going to go back and you're going to make it up? You're going to make up charges that don't exist? Because I can be open, and I am open, and you have no authority to tell me I can't be. And then there's cops standing there, too, like with their hand. Well, we just notify you. I notify me anything. You have zero right. You have zero authority. Get out of my restaurant. And, like, they're like, whoa, get out. And she chases him out and like goes out the door and she's like, and fuck you and your mother. Like, she didn't say exactly that, but you get the tone.
Oh, I saw that.
I was proud of her. I was like, you go, mama. Go get him. Don't be pushed around by the emperor who's not wearing clothes. The naked emperor has no fucking power. Understand your constitutional rights. Don't be an asshole about it, but understand. Like, understand what they are.
I understand that overall, but explain to me how people are still in prison after January 6th.
Fall Guys, they're going to be exonerated at some point, but
times.
Why are they in there? Well, who's going to get them out? You have the people with the agenda pushing them to that fucking result, to that end game. Like there's no one to support them to get out because the narrative is pushed in the direction of their fucking terrorists. Even though you could point out this guy he works for the mall police, and this guy is a FBI agent, and this guy, the ones who were able to scale the fences and open them the easiest, those were the guys who are professional fucking
Yeah. So did you
agent provocateurs. That's what it's
see
called.
when Cruz was asking the FBI?
Oh yeah, they're like, we can't comment on that.
We can't. So you can't comment whether or not there were people in the crowd.
Or the people in the
or
crowd
agents
planted by the FBI. There were agents in order to.
to get the shit stirred up, and
They
we
could-
can't
they-
answer that question.
They couldn't say no.
Right. Well, at least I kind of give them credit that they didn't lie under oath,
Right.
but at the same point, wow, how fucked up is that? All right, we're at number 7, I think.
To combat and prevent human trafficking. I won't go back to that joke. Youngkin says he is starting a commission to protect Virginians. He also outlines ways to empower survivors and increase education. Number 8, he also says he will combat anti-Semitism with a commission to combat anti-Semitism. That makes sense. I would say commission for Jews. That would be better. In your Youngkin outlines the duties and creation of the commission. Okay, cool. What about Asians? No. Why anti-Semitism and not other behaviors? I'm just curious. Oh, because they got a lot of Jewish support. That's why. So he has to. I'm just, yeah. So listen, guys, if you are if you're an abused second-class citizen, contribute money to the next gubernatorial race, and then they'll protect you. So I'm not saying things are perfect, but, I don't know. Just be like, hey, don't be mean to the Jews. Like, what about everybody else? Fuck them. I'm not saying he said that. I'm just, all right. Don't yell at 10-year-old girls either. We're not perfect. We're just humans. Yeah. Here we go. Youngkin plans to review Virginia's involvement with the regional greenhouse gas initiative. He says reliable and affordable housing. Dude, that is a politician's fucking hook. Affordable housing. They all say that. You created so much problems over that. God dang it. I wish he left that out. Youngkin plans to review. Yeah. Reliable and affordable housing and heat is important to the Commonwealth, and he's moving forward with a plan to leave the RGGI. Let's assume that the RGGI was worse than the bullshit that one states. Okay. Last two, I can't now. I don't love them. Is this 11? What is this? Youngkin says he will cut workplace regulations. He says regulations impose a burden on the economy, so he's going to review current laws. I believe that's important.
Absolutely.
We're not.
That's one of the biggest things Trump did.
We're not dealing with Upton Sinclair's stories of how shitty factory life was when you had children working 20 hours a day and they fell into the machinery. And
no, they still do that in China for all the NBA wear.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Oh yeah.
But no one cares.
And if you're that one group who's you're Islamic Asian, then you're abused. They have suicide nets all around, so people, when they jump out, they can take you out of the net and put you back at your workstation. Yeah, don't worry, all you Muslim women who are having to build cell phones, that they took your husbands and murdered them first, and then now they own you and you're their slave because you're a Muslim. How dare you?
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Buy Apple. At least Samsung, at least the slavery is up front. Know who your slave is. Finally, he says he'll restore individual freedoms and remove the vaccine mandate for state employees. Good job, sir.
Yeah.
The order also says KN95, that's the mask that doesn't blow vapor out the front, must be available for visitors and employees at state buildings. There you go. That is a logical, yeah.
Well,
Hey.
the thing is, the other reason, and I forgot to bring this up, right? one of the things, the reason why he won is because he actually stuck to the topics. He actually drilled the topics all the time. He let people know exactly where he stood. And Crenshaw, the 10-year-old abuser, had stated that this was a recipe for victory because he didn't get caught in the minutia. He actually said, these are the things I'm running on. And as you can see, first day in office, he signed the executive orders for these things. So good for him. You know, I understand that some people are a little pissed that he's a little bit more liberal than maybe some conservatives. But I'm okay with that, man. That's what makes the world go around. I'm all right with it. I don't have to agree with you on everything that you do. So, like you said, the affordable housing thing, right? That was his.
Yeah, that's a tactic.
You know what, though? But I wonder. So let me play devil's advocate on that. So what if a guy who's worth $440 million, right? Probably has a lot of real estate investing, understands the cost of what things really cost. I'm doing the Clinton thing again. Sorry. I wish I had a pen or a cigar. I did not put this in her.
I'm not putting her pussy. Well, then why are you looking like that?
Yeah. You know, maybe he does have some better ideas for more affordable housing. You know, maybe he can cut through some of the red tape that they have to deal with, right?
He's like, you got to get rid of slumlords like me.
Well, the thing is this, we're talking more affordable housing is going to involve a lot of project stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what if he, you know, when most government, you know, obviously they pay way too much for hammers and toilet seats and shit like that. Maybe he comes at it a different way and actually comes it as a retail type thing, right? Well, no, I'm not going to. I'm buying 1,000 toilet seats. No, I don't want them for $50. I want them for $22. Maybe a guy like that is actually going to. It's very similar again what Trump was doing, right? Where he goes, no, we're not going to pay that much. I'll pay this much, or you know, or who was it who wouldn't agree with him? Okay, now it's $2 million.
Oh yeah, it was like Venezuela. Like, hey, listen, you got to take your shitheads, and they're like, no, we don't want them. All right, you were at 360 million, or 180. What? You have 30 minutes. Okay. 40 minutes later. Okay. Planes are on their way. We're going to take our criminals away from the U.S. He's like, cool, 90 million. What? You were late.
Yep. Sorry.
Don't
Sorry.
Don't fuck with that guy.
No, and that's, you know what? Maybe he will run the state more like a business, right? I don't know. I'm happy that I think the moral of the story is don't poke mama fucking bear. I mean, that is the number one moral of the story, because married women usually vote Democrat. They do. Mm-hmm. Because they really don't fucking care. And this is an overall.
It's a generalization, right?
Right. But they don't, like you said, until the noise got loud enough to go, wait the fuck a minute. Hold on one second.
Right.
No, because if you ask, and again, generalization, if you ask most women what they feel about politics, they probably go, yeah, I really don't fucking.
Jesus.
Did you just kill the rats?
Oh, they're safe.
They were safe.
Oh no! My miniature drum set that I got for $5 is apparently.
Did you teach the rats how to play drums?
I'm going to.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. They're gonna be like, we're gonna put out a 1980s rock album. It's gonna be
Instead of the chipmunks, it'll be the rats.
Oh yeah.
Christmas time is here.
Nice. You got that down.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thanks.
John, you're gonna have to sing on this album.
Apparently, without helium, I don't think it's necessary.
Sorry about that. But yeah, what John said is, I wasn't trying to get attention. I really wasn't. But what John said is very accurate. Like, You don't care until you have to care.
Right.
Like those who just want to do the things that we as humans want to do, which is have a connection with our family, build a narrative, have purpose. Like those things are that's the focus. It's not
Be left the fuck alone.
right. You have to remember if the conservative base wants to do their things and not be bothered, then you have to be careful when you bother them.
God, it sucks. You know what? There's less and less on the shelves. Gas prices.
Right? Where's my toilet paper and my fucking noodles? And
Right.
what?
And now all
I
of a
need to
sudden-
take my daughter to the bathroom. Why are there men pissing in the child toilet?
Correct.
And then all of a sudden they're like, "What the fuck is going on, honey?
Right.
You haven't been watching the news? I've been out in my man cave, being pissed off, but you don't want to hear about it. I just hope I get laid tonight because it's
Right.
Wednesday, and that's my Wednesday. Is my late? That's it's human nature. We have creature comforts, and we like consistency, and we like routine. You fuck that routine,
And we have no problem doing what we're supposed to do, right?
right?
We don't have any problem if it makes, especially if it makes sense. Everybody's on board. But if you fucking keep going a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, and now you're fucking with my kids.
Right.
Now my kids who've never done a goddamn thing wrong come home and they want me to explain why, because they're white, that they're the oppressor. That is when all of a sudden the mom who would, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday at school, let me bake some cupcakes or whatever. Oh yeah, carpool lane, yeah, no problem. Team mom for sports, absolutely no problem. Now you're gonna come home and my kid who's never done a fucking thing wrong in their life, because we taught them that it's not the color of your skin, it's what you bring to the table that matters. You're gonna fucking tell them that they're the oppressor?
Right.
How?
You are the problem because you were born.
Correct.
Why do I have to console my fucking 7-year-old who
Right.
is crying themselves asleep
Because they're white.
because they're
It's
white
fucking
and they have
terrible.
guilt? Like what?
Well, I mean, and you know, they've given all the ammo to the other side, and that's what Crenshaw was saying with Youngkin, is that he had all the ammo, just had to stay on point, and he did, and he didn't bring up Trump. He didn't because those white middle class women did not like the way that Trump spoke. And they did not like what they thought he represented.
Right.
So he didn't throw Trump under the bus,
Right.
but he didn't go on his coattails either.
Right.
He separated himself, but basically same fucking policies.
Right.
You know, it's mind blowing that the Democrats are that stupid that when he said they had no right to be involved in.
I remember that clip like blew my mind.
I was like, how did somebody not whack him immediately, like, and then just run somebody else really quick? Like, that was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard by far, except maybe yelling at a 10-year-old kid. I mean, that could be pretty bad.
Hold on one sec.
DeSantis is like, well, let me cross him off for VP. Hey, Candace Owens, what are you doing? Because I need some help. Oh, man.
Let me see if I can find that, and then we can wrap this up. Virginia schools plan to disregard Governor Youngkin's mask. Governor. Oh, was this it? Is this it? Former Governor Ralph Douchebag. Gubernatorial candidate says parents should not control what kids say. Okay. Watch. Terry McAuliffe, Glenn Youngkin. All right. Let's check this out. I think I don't know if this was an incumbent. Was Terry McAuliffe the incumbent? I don't recall. Okay.
I think so.
Well, let's check it out.
intimate gathering here, but I'm glad we're
An
actually
hour.
having a live audience. We did a Senate debate with the chamber. With this has been fine partnership we've had with the Shar School
Let's find a clip then.
for and the chamber, and we did it remote a year ago, so it's nice to have it in person.
Oh, will you
I have
stop?
good memories on the stage. The last time I got to be on the stage, I got
Yeah. Be quiet.
Oh,
Hey,
also that
Glenn
governor,
Maxwell. Oh, go ahead.
that governor also was in blackface, and what the fuck else did he do? But he dressed in blackface, and he would go to parties like that and stuff like that. So it's fucking hysterical. It is absolutely hysterical, you know. But he says he's not as racist as it used to be. He's learned a lot.
Well, that's good. I think this might have been a candidate who said this. I think it was his candidate who was eking him out. I don't think it was the incumbent.
So maybe the incumbent wasn't running.
Democrat frontrunner in Virginia governor's race is condemned for telling debate, "I don't think parents should be telling schools
What
what
was
they
his
should
name?
teach." Amid ongoing clashes over CRT, Terry McAuliffe went to
Oh, yeah, that's it.
head-to-head with Republican rival Glenn Youngkin during the final debates. And let's shut that fucking thing off. And Virginia, Loudoun County, and Fairfax County have both hit the headlines over controversial equity policies. McAuliffe's comments drew outrage from parents on social media who argued that teachers' salaries are paid for by taxpayers and they work for us. That is a fact. Oh, where is it? Is this it? But we don't have a video clip. We just have pictures. Come on now. I want to find it. You can tell fucking Glenn Youngkin is tall as fuck. Like, you can tell. Like, the podium hits him in the dick. Videos. Terry McAuliffe the douche. I want a clip. I don't want an hour and 4 minutes. Oh, I think this is it. All right, this will make me happy. All right, here we go. Ladies and germs. I hope this is it.
And I agree with your conclusion, Terry, that we should let local school districts actually make these decisions. But we must ask them to include concepts of safety and privacy and respect in the discussion, and we must demand that they include parents in this dialogue. What we've seen over the course of the last 20 months is our school systems refusing to engage with parents. In fact, in Fairfax County this past week, we watched parents so upset because there was such sexually explicit material in the library they had never seen. It was shocking. And in fact, you vetoed the bill that would have informed parents.
Oh, okay. He was
I
incumbent.
believe school systems should tell children what to do. I believe parents should be in charge of their kids' education.
Mr. McAuliffe, 30 seconds.
Drama.
So first of all, this shows how clueless Glenn Youngkin is. He doesn't understand what the laws were because he's never been involved here in helping Virginia. But it was not. The parents had to write the veto books, Glenn, not to be knowledge about it, also take them off the shelves. And I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decisions.
You vetoed it.
So, yeah, I stopped the bill that I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. 'Cause, I get really tired of everybody running down teachers.
Oh,
God.
Lord. All right, what percentage of the... Fuck off. What percentage of voters are teachers? Like, he was trying to
Right.
placate the teachers. He's like, but the teachers...
So one teacher to every 30 kids. That's 60 votes. One teacher, one vote to 60 votes.
There you go.
Simple math, kids. Simple math.
Pander to the children and the parents of those children. And then you have a chance.
And you think,
fuck.
right? And so here's the reality of that too, right? Not every teacher is going to vote for him because they may say things out loud, but what they may really feel and when they
Right.
cast their ballot could be something completely different. So it blows my mind that you would be that fucking arrogant and that fucking stupid to say that. It blows my mind, dude. Absolutely blows my mind. Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. So are we gonna play again on Thursday?
Yeah, we are.
I
Let's.
hope you feel better.
Thanks, man.
You did pretty good though, except for the coughing fits.
Yeah, during what I suspect was COVID-1, it was different. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't get thoughts out. And I tried. I recorded a couple of them. I was like COVID day 1, I was like COVID day 2, and then COVID day 3 through fucking 10, I was like, no. I can't talk on camera. I wanted to. I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Well, when you lose taste and you lose smell, it fucks with your brain, and that's where the brain fog is coming from now. They're doing all sorts of studies too. It's some scary
It's
shit.
the world's first reusable cotton swab.
My bad. Hold
It
on.
removes up to 5 times more excess earwax.
Shut the fuck up. My bad.
He's yelling at Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie. my producer sucks. There's a reason I only shoot from my shoulders up. You have no idea how fast my fucking hands are moving. Hello.
Hello.
I can't find my vibrator toy. I don't know where it went.
Yeah, it's probably
Oh.
you probably sat on it. No, but seriously, I mean, I've heard also a couple things where if you've had COVID and then you get the shot, bad news, like super bad news. They're talking about I watched that. I listened to the Rogan podcast with that doctor dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So did I.
and some, and that guy's had fucking COVID like 3 times because he's
Yep.
working, obviously with everything and
Yeah.
being in China and stuff like that. So, but I'm hearing now that like if you got it, do not get the vaccine.
Yep.
Because what it does is it fucking attacks the antibodies you already have in your fucking system.
Right.
And it fucks with your immune system completely. It's going to be bad enough that we have fucking kids for 2 years have not been outside playing and wearing masks indoors. Their immune systems are going to be shot. The next wave of flu is going to be brutal. Allergies will be at an all-time high this year.
Yeah.
And that's for adults too, right? I mean, it's you just haven't built up your normal antibodies that you would. So it's
Right. You take the shot and then you tell it this is a permanent antibody is what you're saying.
correct.
What happens when there are new things introduced to your
Right.
environment?
It attacks it right away. So it's gonna fuck with. I don't know. They're gonna be doing studies on how this is. I hate to say population control, dude.
And-
I really hate to go down that
And these
road.
people will be held up like the Nuremberg trials.
But they can't be. Oh well, politicians maybe, but the pharmaceutical companies can't be because
No, because
they
they'll
deal with the devil.
it doesn't matter. You can say that in your current form of government, I am going to not be held accountable to my atrocious behavior. But what happens when that current form of government changes? No one cares. Now you're accountable.
Well, I think it's going to be more about if they can prove knowledge.
The FDA already said they would not grant an 80-year
Oh, they went from 50 to 80.
80-year moratorium on details about the effects of this virus, and they will do it immediately. By the end of 2023, everything will be out there. There's something else to contend with.
Interesting.
The FDA said, yeah, we need an 80-year moratorium. Got to make sure we get through at least 3-4 generations before anybody knows how bad this was.
Right.
I said no, immediately. Turn over the evidence. Let's see what happens.
Let's dance.
Holy shit. I'd like to end on something positive that says Jordan Peterson leaves the audience speechless. One of the best motivational speeches ever. I love this guy. He's fucking transformative. He really is. I wouldn't say that about many, almost any. So let's check it out and we'll duck out.
These people that you're comparing yourself to, you don't really know very well. What that means is that you see their shiny outside, but you don't see the reality of their life. There's always people out there who are doing far better than you on pretty much anything you want to imagine. And if all you're doing is seeing yourself in their reflected light, let's say, then it's going to be pretty damn dismal. But it's not a good comparison because, well, first of all, there's danger in just comparing yourself to others, period, because they're not you, and God only knows what struggles they had to undertake to get to where they were, or what burdens they're currently carrying that you're not aware of. But you can certainly contrast yourself with yourself, and that's a lot better. It is the only way. Well, it's also the only way of really measuring anything approximating proper improvement. You can actually tell when you're a little better than you were yesterday.
Right.
And you can actually do that. That's another thing that's so interesting about it, is that you can actually make yourself a little better in some way, pretty much, well, I don't know if it's at every moment, but you can certainly do it every day. Be careful who you share good news with, because you want to share good news with people who are going to be genuinely happy for you, and be careful who you share bad news with, because that's equally tricky. You want someone who will listen to you when you're having trouble and allow you your grief. Beauty calls people to their higher being, I would say, and to make friends with beauty is to introduce yourself very carefully to one of the mysteries of life that make it worth living. There's never been a better time for the majority of people to be alive, and the future, although we're vulnerable and terrible things can always happen to us, it's hard to make a case that the future doesn't look comparatively positive. We're becoming extremely technologically sophisticated, and the world is changing at an incredibly rapid rate, and the only way we're going to be able to manage that in a positive way is if each of us, or as many of us as possible, are capable of making wise and careful and truthful decisions. And if we do that, then maybe things can continue to improve. You don't get people to stand up on their own 2 feet and to adopt responsibility if everything is given to them. And that's a real conundrum. You know, maybe you're in California, see someone speeding down the road in a convertible Porsche, and you think, oh man, what a lucky bastard. And the truth of the matter is that he's thinking about wrapping his expensive sports car around the next cement pillar that he comes close to. You know, you can't tell, and people have hard lives, and even people who are comparatively fortunate have hard lives. And the ideal that you're observing that makes you jealous and resentful is in large part an illusion that's created by your own mind. You have to be careful of what you're jealous of, because you don't really know what it is. And then the other thing that's kind of useful is to understand you're quite different from other people, and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to them because they're not like you. They don't have your family. They don't have your temperament. They don't have your troubles. They don't have your abilities. The only person that has those is you. One of the rules, I think it's rule 4, is compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not to who someone else is today. And see, that's a game you can win. The possibility that you can make yourself slightly better on a continual basis is, I think that's something that's accessible to everyone. I think that's equivalent to leading a virtuous life. And there is something to be said for virtue and truth. You know, and that is one thing. Another thing that I've noticed about people who've been phenomenally successful is that they really do everything they can to live a truthful life. And
a very strange day is coming to America. In short, a massive and surprising new transition could soon.
You can get a bloody long ways by being honest. you got to know that there are differences in intelligence. It's really important. If you go into a job and you're not smart enough for that job, you're going to have one bloody miserable time. And you're going to make life wretched for the people around you because you won't be able to handle the position. But what you really want to do, as far as I can tell, if you want to maximize your chances for both success and let's say well-being, is you want to find a strata of occupation in which you would have an intelligence that would put you in the upper quartile. That's perfect. Then you're a big fish in a small pond. And you don't want to be the stupidest guy in the room. It's a bloody rough place to be. So, and you probably don't want to be the smartest guy in the room either, because what that probably means is you should be in a different room. If you want to be the best at what you're doing, bar none, then having an IQ of above 145 is a necessity, and maybe you're pushing 160 in some situations, and maybe that's making you one person in 10,000 or even one person in 100,000. And then also, to really be good at it, you probably have to be reasonably stress tolerant and also somewhat conscientious. Why is it that smart people are at the top of dominance hierarchies? And the answer to that in part is because they get there first, right? I mean, everything's a race, roughly speaking, and the faster you are, the more likely you are to be at the forefront of the pack. And intelligence in large part is speed. That's not all of it is. So if you're moving towards something difficult rapidly, the faster people are going to get there first. You're going to have to put some effort into your life. And you need to be motivated to do that. And so what are the potential sources of motivation? Well, you could think about them in the big five manner. You know, if you're extroverted, you want friends. If you're agreeable, you want an intimate relationship. If you're disagreeable, you want to win competitions. If you're open, you want to engage in creative activity. If you're high in neuroticism, you want security. Okay, so those are all sources of potential motivation that you could draw on, that you could tailor to your own, your own personality. But then there are dimensions that you want to consider your life across. And so we ask people about, well, if you could have your life the way you wanted it in 3 to 5 years, if you were taking care of yourself properly, what would you want from your friendships? What would you want from your intimate relationship? How would you like to structure your family? What do you want for your career? Well, how are you going to use your time outside of your job? And how are you going to regulate your mental and physical health, and maybe also your drug and alcohol use, because that's a good place to auger down. And that tangles in your incentive reward system. We talked about the dopaminergic incentive reward system, and that's the thing that keeps you moving forward. And the way it works is that it works better if it produces positive emotion when it can see you moving towards a valued goal. Okay, well, what's the implication of that? Better have a valued goal, because otherwise you can't get any positive motivation. Most creative people fail at producing their creative product and monetizing it, right? So your default position, if you're a creative person, is you're going to fail. And that's because it's hard to come up with something new, and it's hard to present it to the market at the right time, and it's hard to market it. Like, those things are really, really difficult. And so what successful entrepreneurs do is they just keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And eventually, if they're fortunate, one of their ideas happens to hit the right place at the right time. Even if your idea is good, that doesn't mean it will be successful. There's so many things that have to be taken into account. So this is partly why persistence, and that's part of conscientiousness, is so useful. It's like, persistence is helpful because it enables you to run many, many experiments. And you need to know that the baseline is failure. It's important, because otherwise you'll blame that on yourself. And some of that's useful because there's probably some things that you could improve about yourself. But it's very difficult to go from 0 to 1.
He's a very wise man.
I have a hard time listening to him and not just being humbled.
No, I agree. Absolutely.
Well,
that was a good. That was definitely a good note to end on, brother. That was good.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So if you guys don't know him already, now you know a little bit. Check him out, Jordan B. Peterson. He's a voice in the wilderness, and he's humble, and he's logical, and he doesn't try to be inspiring. He just tries to tell the truth as best he can.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. So I usually end with saying love one another and love yourself, but how about this? Tell the truth to one another and be truthful to yourself. Good night.
Have a good one.